Money is a Thing, Life Tools and Cash Rules. Written by J. Robinson. Copyright 2022 by J. Robinson. All rights reserved. It is not legal to reproduce, duplicate, or transmit any part of this video in either electronic means or printed format. Cover designed by MIAT Media Group. Narrated by FlexClip. Introduction. In a culture consumed by the money ain't a thing motto, I felt it was time to change that narrative. In fact, if you are listening to this book, congratulations and thanks, as we are one step closer to changing that narrative. That said, allow me to introduce Money is a Thing. Money is a Thing is not only a book focused on financial literacy, but it is also a collection of life tools and cash rules. For many, money represents freedom and the power to create change. It is a tool we can obtain and learn to use for the creation of generational wealth. It all starts with our mindset and becoming money-minded. So, do not wait. Take action now. Begin your journey to financial freedom. Use this book to help enhance your life and the generations to follow. Chapter 1: Money-Minded. Are you money-minded? Do you know what it means to be money-minded? If the answer to these questions is no, this will be the most important chapter of this book. Having a disciplined and positive money mindset and becoming money-minded will help you establish a foundation for financial success. Becoming money-minded will also help you reach your financial goals and put you on a path to financial freedom. Put simply, being money-minded means having a disciplined and positive mindset when it comes to money. With that said, to become money-minded, you may need to change the way you define or view money. The Webster's Dictionary defines money as something generally accepted as a medium of exchange, a measure of value, or a means of payment. The truth is, money is much more than a means of payment. Money can represent wealth, freedom, power, or status. Unfortunately for some, money can also represent stress, anxiety, and fear. Remember, being money-minded means having a positive mindset. If you have a negative view towards money, it will be important to work on shifting your mindset. To do this, you must first establish a positive view or definition of money. Over the years, I have found that rather than focus on money, it is better to focus on wealth. There are 5 key elements of wealth. In this chapter, we will break down the elements of wealth. Understanding each of these elements will be important in shifting your mindset and becoming money-minded. Wealth mindset. When people think of being wealthy, they often equate it to being rich. However, a person can be rich and not be wealthy. That is because being rich is simply about having a high income. The truth is, if you make $200,000 a year, but spend $250,000 a year, you might appear rich, but you certainly won't be wealthy. In fact, it doesn't matter how much money you have, if you spend more than you make, achieving wealth will be impossible. We have all seen the Instagram posts of people driving nice cars, wearing designer clothes, and taking exotic vacations. If this is your view of wealth, remember, wealth is not defined by a lifestyle. Wealth is defined by a legacy. With that said, to be money-minded, you must focus on being wealthy and never on being rich. To better understand what it means to be wealthy, we must first look at what wealth is. Simply put, wealth is abundance. However, wealth is not just an abundance of money. True wealth is having abundance in all aspects of life. That means in addition to having financial wealth, you must also have physical, spiritual, social, and time wealth. Some people are surprised to find out that there are several types of wealth. That's because in today's society, financial wealth gets all the attention. Despite this, to truly have wealth and abundance, you should work to amass all 5 types of wealth. In the end, it will only help your pursuit of financial wealth and will also help you become money-minded. Below, we will look at the 5 types of wealth. Remember, acquiring each type of wealth could require years of dedication and practice. Nonetheless, wealth is not defined by a lifestyle, wealth is defined by a legacy. The pursuit of wealth should be seen as a lifelong process that doesn't end but only grows. Financial wealth. The most popular and recognizable form of wealth is financial wealth. Generally, when people say someone is wealthy, they are referring to their financial wealth. Remember, don't confuse financial wealth with being rich. That is because financial wealth is less about how much money you have and more about how much money you owe. With that said, the most common measure of financial wealth is net worth. Net worth is the value of all assets, minus the total of all liabilities. Put simply, imagine having to sell everything you own and pay back everything you owe. Whatever money is left over would be considered your net worth. With that in mind, the goal of financial wealth is to maintain and grow a positive net worth. To do this, it is important to live within your means and always invest. Don't go broke trying to look rich or get stuck between needing to save money and the mindset of you only live once. This means you can't save what is left after spending, you must spend what is left after saving. The truth is, growing financial wealth is not about how much money you make, but more about how much money you keep. If you can stay on budget, remain disciplined in your savings, and create a plan for investment, you will begin building a strong financial foundation. Remember, money will match your mindset. If you want to become money-minded, it is important to amass all 5 types of wealth. It is unfortunate, but most people assume financial wealth will create happiness. We live in a culture of get rich or die trying and a mindset of it's all about the money. On the flip side, I'm sure you have also heard the sayings money can't buy happiness and more money, more problems. The fact is, there is some truth to all these sayings. Science has proven that money can create happiness, but only up to a point. This means once a person's basic needs of food, shelter, and security are met, an increase in money will have less of an effect on happiness. For example, imagine you are hungry. Your appetite for food would be high. However, after you eat and are full, your appetite would decrease, and if you eat too much, it might make you sick. Money can work in the same way. That is why it is important to focus on all forms of wealth. Now, I'm sure this will be different for everyone and may depend on your culture or how you were raised. With that said, the important thing to remember is always be careful and cautious of what you are willing to sacrifice for financial wealth. Sacrificing your peace of mind, health, and even your freedom may seem like a means to an end, but could ultimately result in a major loss. So, if happiness is your goal, focus on financial freedom and creating a lifestyle where you never have to worry about money again. Physical wealth. Financial wealth may be the most popular form of wealth, but physical wealth is easily the most important. Put simply, physical wealth is all about your health. I'm sure you have heard the saying health is wealth, and the truth is health is the greatest wealth. That is because, without physical wealth, obtaining or enjoying the other forms of wealth is impossible. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." So, if you really want to be all about the Benjamins, it is important to invest in your health. Do not let illness make you realize the importance of your health. It is also important not to sacrifice your health for your lifestyle. Work to build habits that will support your health and grow physical wealth. This means incorporating exercise, nutrition, and rest in your daily routine. Remember, it's never too late to start investing in your health, and putting it off will only cost you in the future. So do something today that your future self will thank you for. After all, what good is having money if you don't have the health to enjoy it? Spiritual wealth. Becoming money-minded and shifting to a wealth mindset can be difficult at first. Today's world of social media and instant gratification has helped shape a culture of materialism and social comparison. With that said, now more than ever, it is important to build a strong foundation of spiritual wealth. The essence of spiritual wealth is rooted in the mind and spirit. Spiritual wealth can come in the form of mental health, education, or religion. Activities such as reading, therapy, meditation, and prayer can all help to grow your spiritual wealth. With an abundance of spiritual wealth, you will greatly improve your quality of life. You will also improve your ability to overcome stress, anxiety, and other challenges life may bring. So, with that said, if you are feeling pessimistic about life, take time to show gratitude for the good. If you are uneducated about something, dedicate time to learn. Take actions to improve your mental health and use that to create awareness of oneself. See, the best thing about spiritual wealth is it comes from within. It does not cost you anything to grow it, but the return on investment is priceless. All you need is time and someplace quiet to relax and think. Time wealth. Time is the most valuable asset you have. We have all heard the saying time is money, and in many cases this is true. Think about working a 9 to 5. You are trading your 40 hours of time for a specific amount of money. When we talk, we say we spend time or we spend money. Vice versa, we say we save time or we save money. You can start to see how time and money are correlated. The difference is you can get more money, but you can't get more time. That is why when you are young you are rich with time. However, as you get older you will realize time is something you can never get back. The truth is time is priceless and it is the ultimate currency. With that said, time wealth is about the appreciation of time and the creation of freedom. Most importantly, the freedom to control how, when, where, and with who you spend your time. In today's society, creating time wealth can be challenging. The pursuit of financial wealth can create a constant cycle of trading time for money. For this reason, the best way to increase time wealth is to become financially free. The goal of financial freedom is to create a lifestyle that does not require trading time for money. Unfortunately, creating this type of lifestyle is often easier said than done. That is why obtaining financial freedom will require discipline and sacrifice. It will also force you to prioritize what is important in your life. Remember, there are only 24 hours in a day, and true time wealth means benefiting from every one of them. To do this, you will need to find ways to make money even when you sleep. One way to do this is with passive income. Passive income is a major key to financial freedom and creating time wealth. Passive income is money that you earn automatically or with little effort. Some examples of passive income include rental income, interest income, or investment income. Learn to use passive income as a tool to grow your time wealth. Another important key to increasing time wealth is also one of the simplest. You must stop wasting time. Like we said earlier, time is your most valuable asset. Unfortunately, procrastination is the thief of time. In a world of constant distraction, you must pay attention to how you spend your time. It is important to set goals and make them a priority in your life. Practice discipline and do your best to minimize non-productive activities like social media, video games, and TV. I would also recommend waking up early. Research has shown that waking up early can reduce stress and improve your productivity. The key to time wealth will be rooted in your daily routine. Remember, time wasted is life wasted. Social wealth. There is a quote that says, "The real value of your wealth is how much you'd be worth if you lost all your money." When I hear this quote, I immediately think about social wealth. That is because social wealth is not about your net worth, it is about your network. Social wealth is about your family, your friends, your colleagues, and your community. It is rooted in the quality of your relationships, the strength of your connections, and the time you have invested in others. The more positive social connections you have, the greater your social wealth. However, the more negative social connections you have, the greater your social debt. To get the total value of your social wealth, simply add the value of your positive relationships and subtract the value of your negative ones. Remember, no one is perfect, and you may experience positive and negative interactions with people. However, when assessing social wealth, the goal is for the good to outweigh the bad. Invest your time into people who are positive and supportive, and remove yourself from people who are dishonest and negative. That means you may have to let go of old friends and old ways. Regardless, focus on the strength of your relationships and not the length of your relationships. It is better to walk alone than with a crowd going in the wrong direction. The people you surround yourself with will ultimately determine the growth of your social wealth. The saying, "Birds of a feather flock together," couldn't be more true. If you hang around 4 broke people, you are destined to be the 5th. With that said, if you hang around 5 millionaires, it won't be long before you are the 6th. Grow your social wealth and align yourself with people who have similar goals. With an abundance of social wealth, you will live confidently and improve your quality of life. So, join a community, create a network, spend quality time with friends and family, and seek out positive influences and mentors. Always remember, your social wealth will not be about what you gain, but what you give. 5 steps to become money-minded. Number 1. Focus on wealth. The key to becoming money-minded is to create a positive money mindset. With that said, the key to creating a positive money mindset is to focus on wealth. That means expanding your view of wealth to include not just financial wealth, but all forms of wealth. As we discussed earlier, there are 5 forms of wealth. These include financial, physical, spiritual, social, and time wealth. Each of these are equally important and will help shape your mindset. Work to create an abundance of all forms of wealth. This means if you are out of shape, add exercise and nutrition to your daily routine. If your spirits are low, try reading, therapy, and prayer. If you can't find time to work on your goals, try cutting out social media, video games, and TV. Ultimately, these activities will help to improve your quality of life and lay the foundation for becoming money-minded. Number 2. Set goals. Life is full of distractions. When you consider family, friends, work, and school, it can be hard to prioritize what really matters. For this reason, setting realistic goals will be key to becoming money-minded. Goals will help you focus and force you to identify what's most important. Working toward a goal that's important to you will give you the motivation to reach it. Setting goals is also a way to hold yourself accountable and measure your progress. If you have a big goal, try to break it down into the smaller steps. As you accomplish each step, celebrate your achievements and reward yourself. A little progress each day can add up to big results. Remember, success in life is achieved by setting goals, taking action, and refusing to give up. If your plan isn't working, change your plan, but don't change your goal. In the end, what you will become in pursuit of your goals will far outweigh the goals themselves. Number 3. Practice discipline and patience. In today's world of social media and instant gratification, patience and discipline are vital to becoming money-minded and shifting to a wealth mindset. In the section above, we discussed the importance of setting goals. That said, patience and discipline are key to reaching your goals and will act as a bridge between your goals and accomplishments. Remember, life is a marathon, not a sprint. Success only happens over time and rarely overnight. Learn to use patience and discipline in place of motivation. That means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. You will soon see that discipline will lead to habits, habits will lead to consistency, and consistency will lead to growth. For proof of this concept, try using the 21-90 rule. The 21-90 rule says that doing something for 21 days straight will create a habit, and doing it for 90 days will create a lifestyle. Whether the goal is working out, saving money, or studying for an exam, use the 21-90 rule to help strengthen your patience and discipline. Number 4. Focus, forgive, forget. Learning to focus, forgive, and forget will be important in developing a money mindset. First, when we say focus, we mainly mean focusing on yourself. Again, social media has created a space for people to display their highlights. Unfortunately, they rarely show the behind the scenes. Do not get in the habit of comparing yourself to others, or as the saying goes, keeping up with the Joneses. Focus on your own path, or risk getting lost following someone else's. Second, you must learn to forgive and forget. That means forgive yourself for past mistakes and forgive others for theirs. For example, maybe you were financially irresponsible in the past. Or maybe you co-signed a loan for a family member who ended up defaulting and hurting your credit score. Regardless of what it was, you must learn to forgive, forget, and move on. We all make mistakes in life, but holding ourselves hostage to these mistakes will ultimately prevent us from growing and moving forward. With that said, forget the mistake, but never forget what it taught you. Some of the most valuable lessons in life, especially financial, are learned by our mistakes and not our triumphs. Number 5. Practice gratitude. One of the most important concepts to master in your journey to becoming money-minded is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the expression of thankfulness and appreciation. It is about being grateful for where you are and what you have in life, no matter how high or how low you may perceive yourself. There is an old saying that says, when you start counting your blessings will start to count. This saying represents the essence of gratitude and is why gratitude is the foundation for all abundance. So, enjoy the little things in life because one day you will realize they were the big things. Cultivate a habit of being grateful and remember every good thing that comes to you should be returned with thanks. Practicing gratitude is magnetic, and the more gratitude you show, the more your abundance will grow. Chapter 2: Wealth and Health. In the last chapter, we went over the 5 types of wealth. In this chapter, we will take a closer look at the greatest form of wealth, health. These days, when people talk about investments, they often refer to real estate, stocks, or starting a business. For many, it is difficult to understand that the most important investment you can make is actually in your health. For this reason, health is often viewed as an expense and not an investment. However, health is priceless, making it the most valuable asset we own. Gandhi once said, "It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver." That is because with health, everything in your life will be amplified, including your finances. When your body is strong, your mind will be strong. Together, your mental and physical health will provide you the energy, drive, and focus to pursue and accomplish your goals. Science has also shown a direct correlation between health and money. That is to say, the healthier you are, the more money you will make. Conversely, the more money you make, the healthier you will be. As we examine health and wealth, you will start to see the relationship between them and how more of one helps the other and how less of one hurts the other. We will look at why healthier people have higher incomes, how your money affects your physical and mental health, and how to improve your health and money. Understanding these concepts will help you in your pursuit of financial wealth and help you establish a foundation for a long and fulfilling life. How health impacts income. What if I told you healthy people earn more money and accumulate more wealth over their lifetime? What if I also told you healthy people save more money and have higher credit scores? Would this motivate you to be healthier? If not, it should, because all these things are true. Your health will have a direct effect on your finances. Not only will it help to prevent expensive health issues, but it could also affect your salary. Studies have proven that weight-based stereotypes are common. People viewed as obese or unhealthy are often categorized as lazy, unintelligent, and unreliable. In the end, this leads to lower wages, less advancement opportunities, and higher unemployment. I've read studies that say an obese man can earn roughly $15,000 less per year when comparing to a healthy man in the same position. Over the course of a 40-year career, that could add up to more than $500,000 in lost earnings. Not to mention, people who are obese have a shorter life expectancy. Research has shown men and women who are extremely obese can anticipate their life expectancy will be reduced by an estimated 5 to 20 years. If you are a 6-figure earner, losing 10 years of your life could cost you and your family millions in earned income. Now consider a gym membership at a place like Planet Fitness would cost you about $10 per month. That adds up to be about $5,000 over the course of 40 years. If I told you an investment $5,000 could get you upwards of $1.5 million, I'm sure you would want to know how. Well, you know the answer, and that is to take care of your health. With that said, below is a list of 5 other ways your health will impact your income. 5 ways health impacts your income. Number 1. Healthy people accumulate more financial wealth. It's really that simple. The healthier you are, the more money you will make. The examples above, like salary and life expectancy, are just some of the more obvious ways your health will directly affect your income and wealth. There are others, like the rate at which healthy and unhealthy people invest. It was found that healthy people contribute more to their 401k than unhealthy people. Some say this is because healthy people have more of a prevention mindset, which leads to forward thinking and future planning. A simple way to say this is that healthy people expect to live long while unhealthy people do not. Now, this may not be a conscious decision, but subconsciously, when you live an unhealthy lifestyle, that is what you are telling yourself. This can lead to poor financial decisions and create a you only live once mindset. That said, it would make sense that unhealthy people account for a higher number of bankruptcies, foreclosures, and repossessions. They also have lower credit scores, smaller savings accounts, and bad breath. Okay, I was kidding about the bad breath, but you get the point. Your health will be key in growing financial wealth and should be your number one investment. Number 2. Healthy people are more productive. There are only 24 hours in a day. When you have a family, a career, or your own business, you must understand that every hour of the day is important. Being healthy will give you the energy to get the most out of your day. You'll be more productive and will save time. Remember, time is money. If you want to make more money and don't have extra time, the best thing to do is be more productive with the time you have. That means less sleeping in, using fewer sick days, and taking less breaks. Why do you think employers have started to create incentives for weight loss, introduced exercise programs, and given employees access to fitness centers? They understand that healthier employees mean increased productivity and higher profits. Ultimately, your goal is to work while they rest, learn while they party, and exercise while they sleep. Over time, an increase in your productivity will result in an increase in your bottom line. Number 3. Healthy people have more confidence. To be successful in your career or business, you must have self-confidence. Science has shown one of the best ways to increase self-confidence is through exercise and staying healthy. When you possess confidence, you possess value. However, without confidence, you will be at a disadvantage. That is because having self-confidence means knowing your worth and understanding the value you offer. Have you noticed people who have confidence in business offer fewer discounts, close more deals, and charge more money? This is not because the product they offer is so much better, but more about the confidence in how it is presented and ultimately how the customer perceives it. It also has a lot to do with how the customer perceives you. If you appear unhealthy and out of shape, not only will you feel less confident, but clients will perceive you that way. Studies have shown physical appearance affects a person's earning ability, and we have already discussed the fat penalty for being overweight. By being physically fit and having self-confidence, you will have an advantage over the competition and grow your chances to increase your income. Number 4. Healthy people take fewer sick days. This one is self-explanatory. Whether you work a 9-to-5 or run your own business, the less days you are sick, the more days you could be working and making money. In fact, if you own your own business, this is probably even more important. There is no sick leave for an entrepreneur. A week spent in bed sick can mean the difference between making a profit or taking a loss. Just think about what we saw with COVID. It was reported that millions of people are still suffering from long COVID, and it has resulted in more than $160 billion in lost wages. That said, you start to see how important your health is to your income. I guess that's why they say, it costs a little to be healthy, but it could cost you everything to be sick. Number 5. Healthy people spend less. There are only 2 ways to increase wealth. You can either make more or spend less. In the case of healthy people versus unhealthy people spend less. Healthy people pay less for health services and medication. Healthy people also pay lower rates for life, health, and disability insurance. Now, it might seem obvious that healthy people would spend less on healthcare, but did you know they also spend less on clothes? It is estimated that big and tall sizes for men and plus-size clothing for women costs 10% to 15% more than regular-size clothing. Diet can also affect your income. If you eat out a lot or buy a lot of junk food, you may be spending more than if you were eating healthy. Not to mention, healthy people tend to eat less, which can equate to a savings on their food bill. Another big savings can be found from cutting back on alcohol and smoking. Surveys have shown millennials spend an average of $300 a month on alcohol. If you add a $20 a day smoking habit, you are easily spending thousands annually for something that is only hurting your health. Again, saving money is the closest thing to making it. Save money by staying healthy and watch your income grow. How wealth impacts mental and physical health. In the last section, we discussed how your health impacts your financial wealth. In this section, we will discuss how financial wealth impacts your health. Now, this may seem like the same discussion, and it is true wealth and health have a paired relationship. However, wealth's impact on your mental and physical health is a very real thing. We have all heard the saying, more money, more problems. Nonetheless, I think we would all agree that not having enough money can pose an even bigger problem. I mean, let's be real, you need money to survive. Not having money and a means for survival can have a real effect on your brain and ultimately your mental health. In fact, when your brain goes into survival mode for too long, you can even develop PTSD. Think about that. Being broke can actually drive you crazy. Not only that, it can create what doctors call our number one killer, stress. Research by the American Psychological Association, APA, found that money is the number one cause of stress in the United States. So, you can argue whether money is the root of evil, but there is no argument that money is the root of stress. Science has found that financial stress is responsible for a laundry list of mental and physical disorders. Studies show people with large amounts of debt are 3 times more likely to suffer from mental health problems like depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and memory loss. Over time, this creates a continued cycle of poor money habits, which ultimately hurts chances to improve your financial situation. Simply put, being broke can be a vicious cycle. Not only can it affect your mental health, but it can affect you physically too. Financial stress can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, and immune disorders. It can also cause insomnia, headaches, and weight gain. People suffering financial stress have also been known to suffer from increased rates of alcoholism and drug use. Knowing this, you start to see how important it is to limit financial stress. Some of the best ways to prevent financial stress are to plan for the future, expect the unexpected, and do your best to live within your means. If you are faced with financial stress, don't ignore the problem, try to remain calm, and seek professional help if needed. Climbing out of a financial hole can be a challenge. Do your best to stay disciplined and protect your physical and mental health at all costs. Now, with that said, there is another side to the relationship between health and money. We have discussed how a lack of financial wealth can affect and harm our mental and physical health. However, an abundance of financial wealth can have an opposite effect. Now, they say money can't buy happiness, and technically money can't buy health. Nonetheless, research has shown that the higher a person's income, the better their health. This trend is consistent for both mental and physical health and across all income levels. For example, a person making between $35,000 to $50,000 has roughly a 10.4% chance of suffering from diabetes. On the other hand, a person making $75,000 to $100,000 has a 5.6% chance of developing diabetes. As you can see, something as small as a $25,000 increase in your yearly salary will cut your chances of developing diabetes almost in half. The fact is, this is not just true for diabetes, this is also true for kidney disease, 1.9% versus 0.9%, liver disease, 1.6% versus 0.6%, emphysema, 2.5% versus 1%, and a host of other health conditions. For most, the fact that rich people are healthier than poor people is not much of a surprise. Wealthier people have better access to health care, clean water, fresh produce, and healthier food options. Not only that, advertisers target low-income and minority communities for unhealthy products like tobacco, alcohol, and fast food. Couple this with the mental health impact of poverty, and you can see why the health gap between rich and poor continues to grow. Again, this section is not to point out the obvious, but to serve as a reminder. A reminder that the relationship between income and health is real, and they are connected on every level of the economic ladder. Always remember this on your journey to financial freedom. Understanding the relationship between wealth and health will help you build a lifestyle of prosperity, strength, and abundance. How to improve your health and money. The healthier you are, the more money you will make. The more money you make, the healthier you will be. This is the cycle of wealth. As you know, wealth isn't all about your bank account. Wealth is about balance. Largely, wealth is about balance between financial abundance and physical and spiritual abundance. That means, to improve your health and money, you must focus on activities that incorporate all aspects of wealth. That said, this does not mean go create a to-do list of health and wealth goals. What this means is, you should first focus on your lifestyle. Financial, physical, and spiritual wealth only exists when a person's daily pursuits allow them to grow. Put simply, your success will be found in your daily routine. If you go to the gym a couple times a week but eat fast food every day, you can't really expect to get healthier. Just like the person who gets a raise at work but then decides to go buy a more expensive car. The bottom line is, you can't expect a harvest if you don't plant the seeds. Creating or changing your lifestyle will be the key to planting those seeds and simultaneously improving your health and money. Below is a list of 5 lifestyle mindsets that can be used to achieve this goal. 5 lifestyle mindsets to improve your health and money. Number 1. Always live within your means. This is one of the most important things you can do to provide balance and improve both your health and money. To live within your means is to be financially responsible. It means each month you should be spending less than you make or at least equal to what you make. There is a quote by Warren Buffett that says, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." This is the essence of living within your means. It is also the key to financial abundance. With that said, some people are often skeptical of a living within your means mindset. They say it limits creativity and it teaches you a scarcity mindset. The problem with that line of thinking is, numbers don't lie. If you consistently spend more than you make, you will end up in debt. Not only that, the health risks associated with financial stress are far more concerning than any scarcity mindset. The truth is, if you want to live beyond your current means, work to expand them. That means find a side hustle, invest in a business, or find a higher-paying job. Remember, abundance is less about the money and more about freedom. Creating a lifestyle that is consistent with your means will provide you the freedom, flexibility, and focus to improve both your health and money. Number 2. Exercise and stay active. The benefits of exercise are well known as it relates to health. Exercise protects you from heart disease, reduces the risk of diabetes, lowers blood pressure, and decreases risk of cancer. It also reduces stress and combats anxiety and depression. But did you know exercise can improve your finances? That is because exercise sharpens your memory and improves focus. Subsequently, this helps you learn faster and increases your productivity. Achieving and maintaining high levels of productivity is essential to financial success. The more productive you are, the more promotions, salary increases, and bonuses you will receive. The more productive your business, the more products you can produce and the more clients you can service. In the end, exercise will enhance health, health will enhance productivity, and productivity will enhance income. Number 3. Plan ahead. They say proper planning prevents poor performance. When it comes to your health and finances, this statement could not be more true. It is important to plan ahead and be prepared not only for emergencies but also for opportunities. In terms of health, we've talked about the benefits of exercise and staying active. However, it is also important to take preventative steps regarding your health. This means scheduling regular doctor visits and ensuring you have adequate health coverage. As you get older, proper health planning will become increasingly important. I recommend creating a personal health or wellness plan to track your goals and progress. You can also incorporate your financial wellness as a part of the plan. Remember, financial planning is equally as important. Doing things like creating an emergency fund and saving for retirement are vital tasks that should be added to any financial plan. It is also wise to plan and save for any large purchases like a car or your first home. Whatever the goal, a financial plan will be helpful. Plan today for a successful tomorrow and watch your health and finances flourish. Number 4. Watch what you put in your body. There is an old proverb that says, "Tell me what you eat, and I'll tell you what you are." This is because your diet is more than just what you eat. Your diet is also what you watch, what you listen to, and what you read. When you understand this, you begin to see how important it is to watch what you put in your body. Remember, your body and mind will become what you consume. If you eat unhealthy food, you will be unhealthy. If you listen to negativity, you will have negative thoughts. It's really that simple. If your plan is to obtain physical and financial abundance, make sure you create an environment that will allow them to grow. This means consuming nutritious foods, reading for education, and surrounding yourself with people who love and support you. This also means you should avoid negative TV programming, curb your time on social media, and limit the amount of depressing or violent music you listen to. By doing these things, and being more mindful of what you consume, you will have the groundwork for cultivating health and income. Number 5. Learn to do it yourself. When people hear do it yourself, they often think of home repair or renovations. However, the do-it-yourself mindset is more about being self-sufficient and independent. It is also about problem-solving and self-education. As you work to improve your health and income, applying the do-it-yourself mindset will be key. In terms of finances, the obvious benefit for employing the do-it-yourself mindset is the cash savings. I personally have saved tens of thousands of dollars applying this mindset. Simply put, why pay someone for something you can do yourself? Not only that, you may gain a skill that can be used to generate income in the future. In terms of health, the do-it-yourself mindset is also beneficial. For example, a basic skill to learn would be how to cook and prepare healthy meals. This will help you maintain a nutritious diet and save you time and money eating out. I would also recommend learning a basic workout routine. Staying in shape does not require a gym membership or a personal trainer. Learn skills that will help you become more self-sufficient when it comes to maintaining your health. In the end, practicing a do-it-yourself mindset will help you improve your health and money. Chapter 3: Budget and Savings. What is budgeting? When it comes to money, budgeting is one of life's tools. It is the simplest and most effective way to manage your money. With that said, budgeting takes discipline to be successful. Budgeting will also require patience, but with time, you can make it a useful tool in your financial toolbox. 5 reasons to start a budget. Number 1. Numbers don't lie. A budget will give you a true picture of your financial position. It will help you identify how much money you are spending and what you are spending your money on. It will also help you see what you can truly afford. Unfortunately, you may also find that the truth hurts. But it is always better to know what you have before blowing a bag. Always control your money, and never let your money control you. Budgeting will save you from the stress of wondering where your money went and why you don't have enough to pay your bills. It can be depressing, putting the numbers on paper, especially if you have more going out than you have coming in. Regardless, you must do this if you really want to take control of your finances and obtain financial freedom. Number 2. Keeps you focused and disciplined. Saving money takes discipline. Creating a budget will force you to focus on your financial goals. Review and update your budget weekly. This will help you avoid unnecessary spending. It will also help you identify any possible money problems in advance. If you spot any issues or fall off track, try to make adjustments so that you stay within your monthly goals. If you are working with a tight budget, it is even more important to remain disciplined. When it comes to budgeting and savings, patience plus time is the only way to reach success. Number 3. Turn expenses to income. There are only 2 ways to have more money. Make more or spend less. With budgeting, you can see what is coming in and what is going out. If you use your budget correctly, you can find ways to turn expenses to income. Every dollar you stop from going out is the same as a new dollar coming in. Try to find expenses that can be cut and turned into savings. This is one of the quickest ways to generate additional cash flow. Why do you think the first thing businesses do when they are struggling is lay people off or close underperforming stores? It's because shedding expenses will immediately impact your bottom line and increase income. Number 4. Predict the future. A budget will help you predict and plan for the future. In some ways, a budget can act as your personal business plan and a tool that can be used to accomplish your goals. If you are trying to save for your first home, a budget will tell how long it's going to take. It's simple. Say you need to save $10,000 for a down payment on a house. If you are able to save $1,000 per month, you will reach your goal in 10 months. If you can only save $100 per month, it's going to take you over 8 years. You don't have to be a fortune teller to see how a budget can predict your future. Remember, there are no shortcuts when it comes to budgeting and saving. Patience and discipline are the only ways to be successful. So do your future self a favor and start saving now. Number 5. Keeps you ready. Have you ever heard the saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready? This is definitely a cash rule, and budgeting will make sure you are following it. Opportunities or obstacles in life often come when least expected. Make sure you are always prepared for them. Even if you don't have a specific goal, use your budget to set aside money in case something happens. There is nothing worse than missing an opportunity because you were not ready to make a move. There is also nothing worse than having an emergency and you don't have the money to fix it. Keeping a budget will ensure you are aware of your current financial position and where you will be in the future. Bonus, save your marriage. This is for those of you in a relationship. If you share your money with your spouse, partner, or family, a budget is critical. A budget can help communicate how money is being spent and who is spending what. Most importantly, creating a budget will reduce conflicts and help to resolve differences on how the money is spent. Budgeting can also promote teamwork and ensure each person is being held accountable. They say money is the one thing that can tear a relationship apart. Make sure you address it early and use a budget to communicate clearly your financial position and goals. How to create a budget and save. Number 1. Put all your cards on the table. The first step when starting a budget is to write down everything. That means write down all the money you are spending and all the money you are making. I would recommend using the prior month as an example. List out all of your expenses, starting with the biggest. This might include rent, mortgage, car payments, insurance, utilities, credit cards, student loans, and groceries. Write them all down and enter the amounts. If it's something that fluctuates month to month, like some utilities, then overestimate the amounts. Try to capture as much as you can. If you are noticing a bunch of random, one-time expenses, just add them up and put them under miscellaneous. Even though they seem like a one-time expense, do not fail to budget for them. Trust me, there will always be something to take its place. Number 2. Necessity or accessory. Once you have laid out all of your spending, it's time to prioritize your budget. To do this, look at each item in your budget and ask yourself, is this a necessity or an accessory? For example, your rent or mortgage is definitely a necessity. Your electric and water bill would also be considered necessities. In today's world, a cell phone would also be a necessity, but technically you could survive without it. Your cable bill, especially Wi-Fi, may also be a necessity, but the HBO and Stars package might be considered accessories. I understand this can be difficult. For some people, a vacation is a necessity, and to others, going out to eat is a necessity. It is really up to you how you prioritize your spending. The most important part is that at the end of each month, you have enough to cover all your expenses. With that said, if you add up all your necessities and accessories and they total more than your monthly income, stop and go back through your list. You may be forced to make some hard decisions, but one of the first steps to financial freedom is living below your means. Number 3. Prioritize and strategize. Now that you have laid out your financial picture, it's time to prioritize and strategize. To do this, you must first ask yourself, what is your goal? Having a goal will provide you the motivation, focus, and discipline needed to stick to your budget. Having a goal will also help you determine the best strategy for reaching it. Remember, there are only two ways to have more money: make more or spend less. Depending on the goal you are trying to reach, it could be as simple as cutting some accessory expenses. However, if you are reaching for a larger goal, you may need to find a way to make more money. Either way, come up with a strategy that is realistic and, most importantly, a plan you can stick to. It is okay to adjust your budget as you go, but it is not okay to give up. Number 4. Pay your goals first. Once you have decided on a goal, it's important to pay your goals first. That means if your goal is to pay an extra $200 per month on your student loan, then pay it using your first check. Get it out of the way. You will save yourself the temptation of spending that money by taking care of your goals first. You can also use autopay or direct deposit to make payments or savings much easier. You should also open at least 2 accounts. One to spend from and one for saving. Whatever account you use for saving, make sure the money is not easy to access. This means no debit card is attached to it. If there is a debit card attached to it, make sure you leave the card at home and don't carry it with you. The harder you make it to spend, the easier it will be to save. Number 5. Patience and follow-up. Budgeting and saving is not a get-rich-quick philosophy. However, if you stick to it, budgeting is 100% successful. With that said, you must have patience. Give yourself time to see the results. I understand this can be easier said than done, but without patience, a budget won't work. To help you stay focused, try to break up your goal. I like to break goals up into 4 quarters and pretend like it's a game. Also, make sure you are checking your progress at least monthly. It is easier to make adjustments early rather than letting them compound. Always pay your goals first and reward yourself when you reach a milestone. You will be surprised how fast the time will go, and even more surprised with the results. Chapter 4: Credit. What is credit? On your path to financial freedom, the first roadblock that you may encounter is credit. Whether that's getting your first credit card, buying a car, or purchasing your first home, you will most likely need credit. Put simply, credit is your ability to buy now and pay later. I used to have a joke I would use anytime someone would ask me to buy something. I would respond, "Sure, I'll buy. You pay." Everyone would look confused at first, but eventually they would get the point. Buying and paying are 2 different things. Credit will allow you to buy and use your credit to pay. As you can imagine, there are benefits to being able to buy something, even if you don't have the cash to pay for it. With that said, nothing in life is free. Using and managing credit takes discipline. Always make sure you understand the terms. Not knowing when and how much you will have to pay later can be a costly mistake. It is already hard enough to obtain credit, and it takes work to maintain it. Unfortunately, it is easy to lose, so understanding how it works is a major key to credit success. What is your credit score? They say numbers don't lie, and when it comes to your credit score, the numbers won't try. Put simply, it is what it is. If you have a 500 credit score, you can't tell the bank it's because you lost your job or your cousin stopped making payments on that Dodge Charger you co-signed for. The only thing you can do is fix the issue, and to fix the issue, you must understand how your score is calculated. Your credit score is calculated based on 5 key things and can range from 300 to 850 points. The 5 key things are your payment history, 35%, how much money you owe, 30%, credit history, 15%, types of credit, 10%, and how much of it is new credit, 10%. Each one of these factors will play a role in your current credit score. Improving each of these areas can also help to improve your score. With that said, here are some steps you can take to improve your credit score. 6 steps to improving your credit score. Number 1. Get a copy of your credit reports. This may seem obvious, but you would be surprised how many people have never pulled their credit reports. Some people are also surprised to know they have 3 credit reports. That's one for each of the 3 credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You can get copies of all 3 credit reports free of charge at annualcreditreport.com. Before you can fix your credit, you must know what is on your reports. Your credit reports are a record of your payment history, account balances, credit history, and credit inquiries. Make sure you review everything on the reports and ensure they are accurate. Errors on your reports can lower your score, so it is very important to get this information removed. Number 2. Dispute credit report errors. If you find errors on your credit report, you should dispute it with the credit reporting companies, Experian, Equifax, and/or TransUnion. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, credit reporting companies must investigate the dispute within 30 days. If the investigation is not completed or the creditor fails to respond within the 30 days, the information must be removed. Disputes can be filed online. Your dispute should explain in writing the error and include copies of documents that support your dispute. Disputing and removing derogatory credit information is one of the quickest ways to improve your credit score. Number 3. Make your payments. As we discussed earlier, your payment history makes up the largest part of your score calculation. This means 35% of your credit score is determined by whether or not you are making your payments on time. Late payments can destroy your credit score. If you are behind on payments, you must work to get them current. If your payments are current, do whatever you can to keep them current. If you have a hard time remembering due dates, I recommend using some sort of autopay to ensure you pay on time. If you have a credit card debt, make sure you are making at least the minimum payment. Simply making your payments on time will greatly improve your credit score. Number 4. Keep your balances low. The amount of money that you owe is the second largest factor in determining your credit score. This is called your credit utilization, and it makes up 30% of your credit score. Credit utilization takes the total credit you have available and compares it to how much you are using. You can calculate it by dividing what you owe by your credit limit. For example, if your credit limit is $1,000 and you have spent or owe $500, your credit utilization is 50%. Having a utilization percentage over 30% can begin to hurt your credit score. That is why it is never good to max out a credit card, especially if it is your only credit card. With that said, if you have high balances, you must find a way to pay them down. Even better is to not create the balance in the first place. Being disciplined with your spending is important, and you should always try to pay off your balances at the end of each month. This will ensure your utilization stays low and can also save you money on interest. Number 5. Credit inquiries. Applying for new credit will create a hard inquiry on your credit report. Hard inquiries make up 10% of your credit score, and too many inquiries can decrease your score. Be disciplined when applying for credit. The 20% discount to apply for a new credit card could decrease your credit score. Number 6. Patience and discipline. Patience and discipline isn't used to calculate your credit score, but you will need it to fix your credit. There are no shortcuts when it comes to improving your credit. Credit repair companies and credit gurus aren't doing anything you can't do for yourself. Be cautious of people who tell you they can fix your credit for a fee. You may be better off using that money to make a payment or pay down a balance. Benefits of good credit. Good credit can make your financial life easier. Good credit can help you get a mortgage, an apartment, or a car. Good credit has lots of benefits, but the most important one is that it can save you money. I like to say, good credit is like having a financial easy pass. It will allow you to travel the financial highway without having to stop to pay the tolls. But when we are talking about credit, the tolls we are talking about is the interest or the interest rate. Interest is the toll for borrowing money. The better your credit, the less interest you will pay. The less interest you pay, the more money you will save. 3 ways your credit score saves you money. Number 1. Lower interest rates. The number one way good credit saves you money is with lower interest rates. Let's look at a real-life example of how good credit and lower interest rates can save you money. Let's say you apply for a 7-year, $25,000 auto loan. Having good credit could qualify you for a 3.5% interest rate. Your monthly payment would be about $455, and you'd pay $2,300 in interest over the 5 years. However, if you have bad credit, you could pay a rate closer to 13.5%. At this rate, your monthly payment would be around $575, and you'd pay $9,500 over the 5 years. So with good credit, you would save almost $125 on your monthly payment and $7,200 over the 5 years. That's a lot of money to save for the same car and just for having good credit. Number 2. Credit card offers and bonuses. Once you establish good credit, you will begin to qualify for special credit card offers and bonuses. One of my favorites is the 0% interest introductory offer. I wouldn't even apply for a credit card that didn't have a 0% interest introductory offer. With this offer, you don't pay interest on charges for a set period, sometimes a year or more. You have to make sure to pay off the balance before the end of the 12 months. But for a year, the card is interest-free. I like to do what I call a credit card relay. I will pay off my balances right before the end of the interest-free period and then apply for a new card that offers 0% interest. Using the credit card relay, I haven't paid interest on a credit card in over 10 years. Remember, you have to pay off the balance before the end of the interest-free period. If you are not disciplined with your spending, you could be on the hook for interest on any balance that's remaining. Cash bonuses are another way to save money on credit cards. For example, I have received offers for a $200 bonus for spending as little as $500. That's a 40% discount. For example, your cell phone and cable bill may be almost $500. You could pay them both with the credit card and get a free $200. Just like the 0% interest introductory offer, I rarely apply for cards that don't include some sort of cash bonus or rewards. Number 3. Bank account bonuses. Just like credit card bonuses, banks will offer you money just to open an account with them. I recently received an offer for $325. The only requirement was to set up direct deposit for 90 days. Most employers will allow you to have direct deposits to multiple accounts. If you don't want all of your money to go to this account, just set it up so enough of it does to qualify for the bonus. After you receive the bonus, you are free to close the account and pursue the next offer. You could easily receive $1,000 or more over the course of the year doing this. However, there are only so many banks. Once you have received a bonus from a bank, they may make you wait at least a year before you can receive another one. Chapter 5: Real Estate. Most of us have heard the term real estate. But did you know the real estate industry is the biggest industry in the United States? Did you also know the U.S. Constitution used to require you to own real estate just to vote? With that said, you can see how important real estate is, especially in America. Real estate is a gateway to wealth and may be one of the first investments you make in life. Yes, buying a home is an investment. With that said, there are all types of real estate. There is residential real estate that can include single-family homes, condominiums, townhouses, duplexes, and vacation homes. Then there is commercial real estate that can include apartment buildings, shopping centers, hotels, and offices. There is also industrial real estate, like factories and warehouses. All of these different areas make up the trillion-dollar real estate industry. In most cases, your first experience with real estate will be with residential real estate and buying a home. Because of this, we will primarily focus on residential real estate in this chapter. How real estate works. The residential real estate industry is made of 3 key groups. You have buyers, sellers, real estate agents, and banks. Buyers and sellers. Buyers and sellers can be people like you and me, looking to buy their first home or sell the one they have. You also have investors who buy and sell homes as a business. I'm sure you have heard the term flipping houses. This is when an investor buys a home and resells it for more after fixing it up. Banks can also be home sellers, but we will talk more about that later. Next, you have real estate agents. Real estate agents help buyers and sellers buy and sell property. A seller's agent will list the property for sale and help find buyers. They will help set the price of the property using recently sold homes called comparables or comps. They may help stage the property and set up an open house for potential buyers. Once you find a potential buyer, seller's agents will assist in negotiations and help to get the highest price possible. Next, you have buyer's agents. Buyer's agents help buyers purchase properties. They can help find a property that meets your needs and set up showings to view them. Buyer's agents will also help negotiate price and submit the purchase offer. Once an offer is accepted, they can also help set up a property inspection and appraisal. Buyer's agents will also work with the buyer to obtain financing from a bank or lender. A good real estate agent should be able to walk you through the buying or selling process from start to finish. For their services, real estate agents are paid a commission once the deal is done. The average commission is 3% of the sales price. The last key group in the real estate industry is banks. Banks provide money for buyers to purchase real estate. This is done by using what is called a mortgage. Roughly 70% of homes are bought using a mortgage. A mortgage allows qualified buyers to purchase property for as little as 3.5% of the purchase price. We will talk more about how to qualify for a mortgage later in this chapter. Once the bank issues the mortgage, the buyer will be required to make monthly payments for the term of the loan. Most first-time buyers start with a 30-year mortgage. The property will then act as collateral against the loan. This means if the buyer fails to pay the mortgage, the bank has the right to repossess the property. The process of repossession is called foreclosure. We mentioned earlier that banks can also be sellers of property. Foreclosed or bank-owned properties provide some of the best opportunities for buyers looking to enter the real estate market. Investing in real estate. Anyone who buys or sells real estate is a real estate investor. This means if you are buying a home to live in, use as a rental, Airbnb, or to fix and flip, always look at the purchase as an investment. Real estate investments, just like any other investment, come with risk, and it is important to do your due diligence. I like to call this giving the property the L.I.A.R test. L.I.A.R stands for location, inspection, appraisal, and rules. First, location. Location is one of the most important factors to consider when deciding to buy real estate. This is because location is the one feature that can't be changed or duplicated. When judging location, always ask yourself, what can I get to in 10 minutes if I decide to jump in my car or call an Uber? Then ask yourself, what can I get to in 30 minutes? Are you close to the water or one of the area's main attractions? In 30 minutes, can you reach downtown or the city center? The closer you are to employment centers, shopping, entertainment, and recreation, the more valuable the location will be. Next, look to see how close you are to freeways, train stations, and airports. Access to transportation hubs is always key when considering location. Especially in today's world, when long commutes are becoming less and less desirable. Other things to consider are the school system, crime rates, and the neighborhood status or reputation. With that said, the recent trend of gentrification has proven these characteristics can change fast. With any investment, the goal is to get in low before the prices get high. Look for real estate in locations that are trending up. Remember, neighborhoods can change, but location won't. Once you have checked out the location, the next step is inspection. Put simply, inspection is checking the condition of the property. Has the property been recently renovated, or is it unlivable? The condition of the property will always affect the price someone is willing to pay for it. If the property is in great condition, you can expect to pay top dollar. However, if the property is in poor condition, you may be able to get it at a discount. In my opinion, a discount on a property in poor condition is better than a premium on a house in good condition, especially if you have the time and resources to fix it up. We will talk about that more when we talk about flipping houses. The bottom line is, make sure to inspect the property and confirm its condition before buying. The next part of our lie detector test is appraisal. Appraisal is when you estimate the value of the property. If you are using a mortgage to buy a property, the bank will require an appraisal. However, before you get to that step, you should be doing your own appraisal. Once you have completed the first two steps, by evaluating the location and inspecting the property for its condition, it shouldn't be hard to come up with an estimate of the property's value. No appraisal is exact, and yours doesn't have to be either. The primary purpose is to answer one question: is the price of this property worth it? One of the biggest mistakes in real estate is overpaying for a property. To get started on your personal appraisal, go to a website like Zillow or Redfin. Next, search for properties that have sold recently in that location. This is called finding comps. If you find similar properties that have sold for more or close to the same price, then you can feel comfortable that the property is worth it. Always make sure to consider the square footage and condition when looking at comps. Again, you are only trying to get an estimate of the property's value. The final step of the L.I.A.R test is rules. When we say rules, we mean researching the rules associated with the property. People always ask what this means and are unaware that many properties come with rules that must be followed. Have you ever heard of an HOA or a condo association? What about zoning? Depending on the location, a property may have restrictions that govern what can and can't be done with the property. For example, some HOAs won't allow you to use the property for Airbnb. Others may limit the number of vehicles you can have. If the property is in a residential zone, you may not be able to turn it into a duplex. All of these different rules can impact your potential investment. Make sure you research the rules before moving forward with any real estate purchase. Giving a potential real estate investment a L.I.A.R test will help you separate opportunities from mistakes. Each opportunity will come with different challenges, but location, inspection, appraisal, and rules will always play a part. You will see the benefits as we look at some of the most popular types of real estate investments. Buying a home. In most cases, buying a home will be your first experience with real estate investing. Buying a home is a big decision and can also be a big accomplishment. However, buying a home is different than other real estate investments. In fact, some people say it is not an investment, but trust me, it is. The difference is, some people treat buying a home as a luxury rather than an investment, and the truth is, it can be both. You must ask yourself, why are you buying a home, and make a decision if this is going to be an investment or a luxury. To do this, consider two things. First, what is the condition of the property? Is it something you are going to fix up, or is it new construction? Remember, a discount on a property in poor condition is better than a premium on a house in good condition. This is because you can gain equity by fixing up a home. Equity is the difference between what a property costs and what it is worth. We have all seen the HGTV shows where they spend $250,000 to buy and fix up a house, but then the house is worth $300,000. That extra $50,000 is equity. Going into a home with equity is the best way to guarantee you earn a return on your investment. The second thing to consider is, how long do you plan to stay in the home? If the answer is less than 3 years, I would consider this a luxury purchase. The longer you stay in a home, the more equity you will build, and the greater chance the home will appreciate. This means the chances you will see a return on your investment will increase. Also, if you stay in a home at least 3 years, you can avoid taxes on any potential profits. I'm not saying it's impossible to make a return in under 3 years, but the chances are much less, and the return will probably be much smaller. Especially if you are buying a new construction or recently renovated property. Steps to buying a home. The first step to buying a home is to run the numbers. When it comes to buying a home, it's all about the numbers. Whether it's your credit score, income, debt-to-income ratio, or your down payment, these are all numbers you need to know. First, start with your credit score. The higher your credit score, the better your chance to get approved for a mortgage. FHA loans usually require a credit score of 580 or higher. A score of 720 or higher will allow you to qualify for a conventional loan. We'll talk more about the difference between an FHA loan and a conventional loan when we discuss financing. The bottom line is, know your credit score before you apply for a mortgage. The better your credit score, the lower your interest rate, and when it comes to mortgages, a low interest rate is what it's all about. If you have questions about your credit score and how to improve it, make sure to read Chapter 3. The next numbers to know are your income and, most importantly, your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. Your DTI is your monthly expenses divided by your gross monthly income. Your monthly expenses would include rent, car payments, student loans, child support, and credit card payments. Basically, anything that would show up on a credit report. Expenses like utilities, childcare, and groceries would not be included. For income, simply take your gross monthly income. Gross income is the amount you earn before taxes and insurance are taken out. Make sure you have check stubs or tax returns to support your income. Banks take income verification very seriously. Let's look at an example. Say you pay $1,500 a month for rent, $300 a month for a car payment, and $200 for credit cards. Your monthly expenses would be $2,000 per month. If your gross monthly income is $5,000, your debt-to-income ratio would be 40%. $2,000 per month in expenses divided by $5,000 of gross income. Banks like your DTI to be under 43%. So, for this example, the $1,500 that you are paying for rent is probably close to what your mortgage payment would need to be. With that said, make sure you know your income and DTI before you start the home buying process. The last number you need to know is that number under balance in your bank account. Yes, buying a home will take some cash, even if you are using a mortgage to buy it. Most banks require a down payment for a mortgage. You will also have to put down a deposit with your offer to purchase a home. I would recommend saving a minimum of 5% of the purchase price. So, if you want a $300,000 home, you need to save at least $15,000. With that said, it's possible to get a loan with less than 5% down, and there are programs out there that can help with down payment assistance and closing costs. Regardless, I would still recommend saving the money. Buying a home is a big responsibility, and if you end up having extra money, it will only help you in the long run. After you run the numbers, the next step is to start a watch list. Your watch list should be a list of neighborhoods or zip codes that have homes in your budget. You can start by going to redfin.com or zillow.com. Do a general search for homes in your price range and get an idea of the types of homes and locations that interest you. If you find a home in a location you are not familiar with, I recommend doing a drive-by to check out the area. You can also use Street View, but nothing's better than seeing it for yourself. Remember, you will have to prioritize your watch list. Your budget will likely determine the size, location, and amenities you can afford. With that in mind, make sure you identify what's most important to you in a home. Call the professionals. At this point, you should have an idea on what you can afford and the location and type of home you are looking for. Now would be a good time to contact a real estate agent. In most cases, especially for a buyer, having an agent is a no-brainer. That's because the seller of the property you buy pays your agent's commission. At least that's how it works for now. Soon, there may be changes on how real estate commissions work. But for now, as a buyer, having an agent costs you nothing. With that said, make sure you are comfortable with your agent. You want to make sure they are knowledgeable and are going to act quickly and professionally on your behalf. In today's market, homes are selling quicker than ever, so your agent may have to act fast in order for you to be successful buying a home. A good agent will also have relationships with lenders, home inspectors, and general contractors that can help you along the way. Get pre-approved. Most people don't pay all cash for a home. So, if you are most people, you will need to get a mortgage. The first step in getting a mortgage and buying a home is pre-approval. A pre-approval is when a bank or lender will review your income, debt, and credit history. Based on this initial review, the bank will pre-approve you for a mortgage. This approval will usually come in the form of a letter, called a pre-approval letter. When you submit an offer for a home, you would include this pre-approval letter to show the seller you have the funds to purchase the home. It is important to have your documents together before applying for a pre-approval. This would include your pay statements, tax returns, and bank statements. If you have any other income that you would like them to consider, make sure you have documents to support these amounts. Remember, you don't have to use the same bank to finance your loan that you used for your pre-approval. You should always get estimates from multiple banks to compare interest rates and fees before actually committing to a bank. Seek and destroy. The next step in the home buying process is to seek and destroy. I know you're asking yourself, what is seek and destroy? Simply put, seek and destroy is the process of finding a home and getting the seller to accept your offer. To some, it may sound harsh, but in today's market, this is the mentality you must have to get a property under contract. The seek and destroy mentality means you should be looking at listings daily. When you find a listing that fits your criteria, you should schedule a showing ASAP. During the showing, make sure to view the entire property, inside and out. Keep an eye out for structural issues, like cracks in walls or uneven floors. You also want to view the condition of the appliances and HVAC systems. Some other things you can do are check water pressure by turning on faucets, make sure the light switches work, check if the doors and windows open smoothly, and check the neighboring property's condition. Don't worry, you don't have to catch everything. You will have a chance to do a professional inspection once the property is under contract. After viewing the property, make sure to give it the L.I.A.R test. If it passes the test, you should consider making an offer. Don't feel pressured to make an offer unless you are sure this is the home for you, but don't wait too long to decide because you could also miss the opportunity. Make an offer they can't refuse. Making an offer on a home can be a confusing and stressful process, especially in today's market when homes are going under contract fast and selling over the asking price. There is a strong chance you will only have one shot at making an offer, so you must make an offer the seller can't refuse. In order to make an offer they can't refuse, you must consider several things. The first thing to consider is price. Ask yourself, what is the highest amount you would pay for the property? You do not have to offer your highest and best, but remember, if your offer is too low, you could miss your chance. If you have given the home a L.I.A.R test, you should know what comparable homes are selling for in the area. I also recommend looking at how many days the house has been on the market. If it has been on the market for longer than 15 days, there is a strong chance you could offer the list price or slightly below the list price. If you are making an offer during the first 15 days on the market, you should consider an offer at the list price or slightly over. Again, we are in a seller's market. If we move to a buyer's market, then offers under the list price would have a stronger chance of being accepted. The second thing to consider are the contingencies. A contingency is an agreement within the contract that says certain things must happen before the sale can close. Some common contingencies are the inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, and the finance contingency. In real estate, the less contingencies you have in your contract, the stronger the offer will be for the seller. The first contingency to consider is the inspection contingency. The inspection contingency is one of the most common and most important contingencies in a real estate contract. The inspection contingency says you get to have a professional inspection before you buy the home. If after the inspection you want out of the contract, you would be released from the agreement and receive your deposit back. I would recommend you have an inspection contingency in your contract. However, In a seller's market, many buyers forego an inspection contingency in an effort to make their offer stronger. This can benefit the seller by shortening the time it takes to close and preventing buyers from asking for repairs or reductions in the offer price. Another common contingency is the finance contingency. The finance contingency says that if the buyer is not approved for a mortgage, then they are released from the purchase contract. This contingency is standard for buyers using a mortgage to finance their home purchase. However, it is also why cash offers are so popular and preferred over buyers who are using a mortgage to finance the purchase. Sellers favor cash offers because they can close quickly and there are less chances the deal will fall through. If you have the means to make a cash offer and eliminating the finance contingency, there is a strong chance you will make an offer they can't refuse. The last common contingency is the appraisal contingency. The appraisal contingency states the house must appraise for the selling price or above. Again, buyers may forego this contingency in an effort to make their offer stronger. However, if you are taking out a mortgage to buy the property, the bank may require an appraisal contingency. If the bank does not require the appraisal contingency, they may only loan you an amount up to the appraised value of the property. For example, if you offer $300,000 for the home and it only appraises for $290,000, the bank would base your loan on the $290,000 appraised value. You would have to come up with the other $10,000 in cash. Be very careful paying more than the appraised value for a home. If prices start to decline, you could easily wind up owing more than the home is worth. The last two things to consider when drafting an offer the seller can't refuse is setting the closing date and determining the amount of your earnest money deposit. When it comes to closing dates, the sooner the closing, the stronger the offer. Unless the seller requests additional time to relocate, the sooner you are able to close the deal and get them their money, the better. Again, this is where removing contingencies and having a cash offer can make a big difference. A mortgage can take 30 to 45 days after your offer has been accepted to receive a clear to close. A cash offer could close in as little as 10 days. Keep this in mind when submitting your offer. I understand that having a cash offer may not be realistic, but do your best to keep your closing date under 45 days from offer acceptance. You can always ask for an extension if needed, but the seller may push back, so be prepared to negotiate. The last thing to consider when drafting your offer is your earnest money deposit or EMD. An earnest money deposit is like a security deposit. It is the money you put down with your offer to show you are a serious buyer. Once you close on the home, the earnest money goes towards your down payment. If you decide to back out of the purchase for a reason not outlined in one of your contingencies, you'll lose your earnest money deposit. The standard EMD is between 1% and 3% of the purchase price. If your offer is accepted, the EMD closing the deal. Once you get a house under contract, as a buyer, it is up to you to close the deal. In most cases, the first thing you will want to do is hire a professional inspector to inspect the home. A good real estate agent should be able to recommend a home inspector. You can also search online, but make sure to read reviews and compare pricing. The inspection should be scheduled as soon as possible, especially if you have an inspection contingency. Most inspection contingencies have a deadline. This means, if you do not respond by the deadline, you will no longer be able to get out of the contract without forfeiting your deposit. If you do run into scheduling issues, make sure you request an extension in writing. I would also recommend you be there for the inspection. It will help you get familiar with the home, and if there are any issues, you will be able to see them firsthand. Once the inspection is complete, the inspector should provide you a detailed inspection report. If there are no major issues, and you are comfortable with the condition of the home, you would notify the seller and proceed with the purchase. If you do discover major issues or aren't comfortable with the condition of the home, you have two options. The first and most obvious option would be to walk away from the deal and exercise your inspection contingency. The other option you have would be to try and negotiate with the seller. In most cases, you would request one of three things. 1. You could ask the seller to repair the issue. Sellers don't usually like this option because they don't want to spend any money and they don't want to be responsible for the repairs if they aren't done correctly. If the seller does agree to make the repair, make sure it is done professionally and be sure to inspect the repair before close. The second, and more popular option, would be to ask the seller for a credit at closing. This would allow you to make the repair on your own and exclude the seller from any responsibility regarding the repair. It will also save the seller from having to spend any money, and as the buyer, it would lower the amount of money you have to bring to the closing table. Make sure you check with your lender before negotiating a closing credit. In some cases, closing credits are capped at a certain percentage. This means if major repairs are needed, the credit may not be enough to cover the cost. In that case, you may want to consider a third option. Similar to a seller credit, the third option would be to ask for a reduction in the sale price. A price reduction would also exclude the seller from any responsibility regarding the repair and save the seller from having to spend any money. There is also no limit on the size of a price reduction in case a large repair is needed. Remember, this is your last chance to object to the condition of the property. After you release the inspection contingency, you are saying you will accept the property as is. Next, if you have given the property the L.I.A.R test, you know that after inspection comes appraisal. However, in this case, the appraisal will be done by a professional appraiser selected by the bank. This appraisal will be used to determine the value of your home for the purpose of approving your mortgage. The lender will select the appraiser and then work with the seller to schedule the appraisal. The appraiser will be looking at the condition and square footage of the home. They will also pull recent sales of comparable homes. After the appraisal is complete, the appraiser will issue an appraisal report. The appraisal report will list the details of the home, the comparable homes that were used for comparison, and the appraised fair market value. If the appraised value is greater than or equal to your offer price, you would satisfy the appraisal contingency. If the appraised value is lower than your offer price, you would need to make up the difference between the appraised value and the offer price. This can be done by coming up with the difference in cash or trying to renegotiate with the seller to lower the price. You could also contest the appraisal and try to request a new one. Unfortunately, you may have to pay for the additional appraisal, so make sure you have documentation to support your objection. The final step to complete in the mortgage process is called underwriting. Underwriting is the process of approving your mortgage. Some parts of the underwriting process begin when you are first pre-approved for a mortgage. For example, a credit check and income verification would be done during pre-approval. However, during underwriting, the bank will do a complete examination of your finances. This would include investments, savings, retirement accounts, and employment history. They will also verify your identity and address history. With that said, during the underwriting process, it is very important to have your documentation and records together so you can respond to requests quickly. For example, if the lender asks for your tax returns or bank statements, you want to have these ready so you can send it quickly and avoid a delay in your closing. Once you've met all the underwriter's requests and requirements, you will receive a clear to close. A clear to close means that the lender has approved your mortgage. Closing day can be a stressful but exciting day. Before closing, you should schedule a final walkthrough. I would recommend scheduling the final walkthrough the morning of closing or as close to closing as possible. Your final walkthrough will be to ensure the property is in the same condition as when you made your offer. You also want to confirm any agreed upon repairs are completed and the property is vacant, including all personal property that will not convey with the property. Once your final inspection is complete, it's time for the actual closing. You can expect to spend a few hours at the title company signing paperwork. Most title companies will provide you a list of any items to bring to closing. Once the signing is complete, you will receive your keys and it's time to move in. House flipping. If you watch TV or have any interest in real estate investing, I'm sure you have heard the term flipping. House flipping is when you buy a run-down or outdated property, fix it up, and sell it for a profit. Flipping can be a great way to make money in real estate. However, it is not always as easy as it seems on HGTV. To be successful at house flipping, you must master the techniques discussed earlier in this chapter. That includes being able to give a potential real estate investment a liar test. You will also have to be an expert at seek and destroy and closing the deal. Remember, finding a house to flip is different than finding one to live in. Although some of the core principles are the same, you may have to develop different strategies to be successful. With that said, let's look at some key points to focus on when evaluating a fix and flip opportunity. After repair value. The after repair value, or ARV, is the value of the property after you fix it up. The ARV is very important in deciding whether or not a fix and flip opportunity will be successful. For example, say you find a property that is listed for $100,000 and it will cost $25,000 to fix it up. That means your expenses would be roughly $125,000. If the after repair value of the property was $120,000, you could potentially lose $5,000. On the other hand, if the after repair value of the property was $150,000, you could potentially make $25,000. Now, these are just rough estimates, but the idea is to show the importance of the ARV. Paying too much for a property or spending too much for repairs is the most common mistake investors make when executing a fix and flip. By calculating the ARV, you will have an idea of what you should be paying for the property and repairs. Use the tips outlined in the L.I.A.R test to come up with an appraisal or ARV for the property. The only difference is, you would consider the after repair condition of the property. Once you have the ARV, you can use some simple calculations to determine a good price to pay for the property and repairs. The 70% rule. The 70% rule says that you shouldn't pay more than 70% of the after repair value of a property, minus the cost to fix it up. In our earlier example, we had a property listed for $100,000 and a cost of $25,000 to fix up. Using the after repair value of $150,000, let's apply the 70% rule. First, take 70% of the ARV. That would be 70% of $150,000, which is equal to $105,000. Now subtract the cost to fix it up. That would be $105,000 minus $25,000, which is equal to $80,000. In this example, the most you would want to pay for this property is $80,000. Again, these are only rough estimates, but applying the 70% rule can help when comparing fix and flip opportunities. Fix or flop. I'm sure you have all seen a reality show about fixing up houses. The story is always the same. They buy a property and start fixing it up, when all of a sudden, they discover an issue they didn't plan for. Well, this doesn't just happen on TV. That is why one of the most important parts of a fix and flip is properly estimating the repair costs. A good investor must have a vision for every project and be able to execute that vision within budget. Before you begin calculating repair costs, understand what the vision will be for the project. You can again start with the L.I.A.R test. Look at where the property is located. Is it a high-end neighborhood, or does it have more moderately priced homes? In a moderately priced neighborhood, buyers may not want to pay more for high-end amenities. If you're not familiar with the neighborhood, try to research some recently renovated comps or look for an open house of a similar home. Remember, your vision must match your budget, and your budget must match your vision. Over or under improving a property is a common mistake and can quickly affect your profits at the closing table. Once you have a vision for your project, the next step is to inspect the property. When inspecting a fix and flip opportunity, the first thing to check for is big-ticket items. That includes things like a roof, foundation, mold, and HVAC. Big-ticket items can quickly deplete a renovation budget, especially if the repairs are unexpected. Make sure to be thorough when inspecting the property. I would recommend going room by room and writing down any needed repairs. For example, does the room need paint or flooring? Does it need new light and door fixtures? Write down as many notes as possible and try to include quantities and sizes for each room. Also make sure to take a lot of pictures. Even the most detailed person can miss something. Having lots of pictures and videos will help you when you are trying to put together your renovation budget. Now that you've completed the inspection of the property, it's time to calculate your renovation budget. For some investors, this step may be completed by a contractor. However, if you are still in the evaluation stage, you may want to create an estimated repair budget to see if the property could be potentially profitable. Remember, estimating repair costs takes experience. As a beginner, you should first focus on material cost. Start by listing out each room of the property. Then list out all the material that will be needed to renovate that space. Try to be as detailed as possible. For example, renovating a bathroom may require a vanity, toilet, sink fixtures, shower fixtures, tile, and light fixtures. Once you have listed out as much material as possible, it's time to head over to your local Home Depot or Lowe's. You can also go online, but if you are new to renovations, I would recommend visiting the store so you get a better feel for the look and quality of the material. Again, estimating repair costs takes experience. As you begin to gain experience, the process will start to get easier. Once you become more familiar with brands and costs, you may be able to reuse prior estimates to quickly come up with a repair budget. You can also reuse a repair estimate from a contractor to quickly gauge rehab costs. The goal is to be as accurate as possible, and when in doubt, overestimate. It is always better to end up with a surprise savings than a surprise expense. Time is money. If you decide to pursue house flipping, you must become an expert at seek and destroy and closing the deal. For that reason, we are not going to revisit these topics. But if you need a refresher, you can reference these sections under Buying a Home. For this section, we are going to assume you have gotten your property under contract and closed the deal. With that said, this is where the clock starts and the real work begins. Remember, time is money. The goal of any fix and flip is to buy, repair, and sell the property as quick as possible. The longer it takes for you to repair and get the home sold, the more your costs will increase. That is why you must have a plan. If you are doing some of the work yourself, be prepared to dedicate the next couple months of your life to the project. If you are using a general contractor, make sure you manage your expectations and communicate with them frequently. I would also recommend having a backup general contractor available in case a change is needed mid-project. That's why it is important to get multiple bids from multiple contractors. Try to be in and out in less than 6 weeks. This means, from the day of closing to the day you put the home back on the market, should be roughly 45 days. Once you have completed your repairs, it's time to get the home ready for sale. The first thing to do is a full inspection of the property. Make sure there is no unfinished details or construction debris. You may want to consider having someone professionally clean the house. You want buyers to be excited about the home. As they say, there is never a second chance to make a first impression. So also consider staging the property. Staged properties sell faster and for more money, however staging costs. A staging company may charge between $1,000 and $4,000 to stage a property. If that's not in the budget, try virtual staging. Work with your agent to formulate a marketing plan that works for you. An open house soon after the property is listed is always a good idea. Remember, flipping houses is challenging and no investment is guaranteed. Always have a plan and try your best to stick to it. I would recommend starting with a smaller project until you gain experience. Your first project will not be easy, however, if you take the time to do your research and put in the work, it can be a great investment opportunity. Airbnb. By now, I'm sure everyone is familiar with Airbnb. For those who are not, Airbnb is an online platform that allows property owners to list their homes for short-term rental. Whether it is their entire home, a basement apartment, or a spare bedroom, Airbnb has become a popular way for people to make money with the properties they own. Once you have decided to be a host on Airbnb, there are several things to consider, before getting started. What to consider before starting Airbnb. What is your goal? Yes, we all want to make money, but what is your goal? Are you just trying to make extra income? Or are you trying to build a short-term rental empire? Depending on your goals, the amount of time and money involved will be different. So first, determine what type of host you want to be. I recommend starting small. Know the rules. As discussed in earlier chapters, when evaluating a real estate opportunity, you should always give a property the L.I.A.R test. Airbnb and short-term rental opportunities are no different, especially when it comes to rules. The laws surrounding Airbnb and short-term rentals vary from city to city and are constantly changing. Many of these rules place limits on how many days a property can be rented. They also place restrictions on the types of properties that can be rented. For example, an owner-occupied property may be allowed to rent 180 days a year, while an investment property may not be eligible for Airbnb or short-term rental at all. So the bottom line is, make sure you know the rules in your area. Time is money. Managing a successful Airbnb listing takes time and money. Make sure you have the time to invest, especially in the beginning. This includes investing time and money to stage and photograph the property. A properly staged listing with great photographs can be the difference between a successful or unsuccessful listing. Once the property has been staged and listed, you must ensure the property is adequately maintained. This means routine cleaning and restocking of any essentials. You will also be responsible for responding to any emergencies. All of this will take time and/or money and sometimes much more than you expected. So, make sure you have the time and energy to do what is necessary. Nosy neighbors. Whether you own or rent, most of us have neighbors. Some neighbors can be like family, but some can be your worst enemy. That said, make sure you consider the type of neighbors you have before listing a property on Airbnb. Since its inception, there has been plenty of controversies surrounding Airbnb, especially in residential neighborhoods. If you live in one of these neighborhoods or have nosy neighbors, you will want to be extra careful before listing on Airbnb. Decide if the potential headaches that come from nosy neighbors are worth the effort to host on Airbnb. Risk and liability. When you are hosting on Airbnb, you are literally inviting complete strangers into your home. If that alone makes you feel uneasy, you'll need to think twice about hosting on Airbnb. If having strangers staying with you is not ideal, your only option is to find and acquire a dedicated rental unit. Outside of personal safety, you are exposing yourself to a host of other risks by hosting on Airbnb. You're putting your property at risk of theft. You could potentially rent to a squatter. You could also be liable if your guests get injured or if they damage other property or injure neighbors. That said, with the proper Airbnb liability insurance coverage, you could minimize much of these risks. So, after taking the above into consideration, do you still want to start an Airbnb? If so, you will need to make a plan. Below is a 6-point checklist to get you started and help take your Airbnb from an idea to a business. Now, this assumes you already have a property secured. If not, start with the chapter on real estate and come back once you have secured a property. Airbnb 6-point checklist. Number 1. Start an account. I know that seems simple, but you would be surprised how many questions will be answered just by signing up for an account. In most cases, the app will help walk you through the listing process. Number 2. Clean and stage. This could be as simple as sprucing up a guest bedroom or as extensive as doing a full renovation. Either way, you will want to make sure the space is clean, stylish, and functional. Number 3. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This will be the most important part of your listing, especially in the beginning, before renters have had the opportunity to post reviews. With that said, make sure your pictures exaggerate the best features of your space and minimize any potential negatives. Now, I'm not saying to catfish prospective renters, but highlight the good. For example, if your property has a pool, gourmet kitchen, or even a king-size bed, be sure to capture a photo of these features in their best possible condition. As for negatives, if the space is small, try to take a wide-angle photo. Or you can focus or highlight its functionality. Like maybe there is an espresso maker, big screen TV, or great storage. Whatever the case, make sure you invest the time or money into getting great photos. Number 4. Talk is cheap. A good description always helps, but remember, talk is cheap. Avoid talking up your property with words like luxurious or lavish. What's luxury to one person may be basic to another. Plus, your pictures should exemplify the taste level of the space. When writing your description, try to stick to the facts. If you are in a great location, make sure to mention that. 1 block from the beach will stand out way more than luxurious studio apartment. Also, use the description to answer any logistical questions. Like, is the property close to public transportation or is there parking available? The more questions you can answer for a potential renter, the greater the chance they will want to book, and the less questions you will have to respond to. Number 5. Figure out entry and exit. You must have an access and security plan for Airbnb, even if that means you check in and check out each guest yourself. That method is probably not the best option, and I would highly recommend you automate the process. You can find keyless entry locks at Home Depot or Lowe's. This will allow you to provide the guest a passcode for entry and exit. This code can also be changed after each stay to ensure it is not used more than once. I would also recommend investing in a wireless camera, even if it's just a Ring camera on the front door. This way you can monitor the property without having to physically be there. As your bookings increase, having the option to automate entry will be priceless. Number 6. Cleaning and maintenance. Just like entry and exit, a cleaning and maintenance plan is essential to a successful Airbnb. Again, that could mean you clean the space after each stay. However, as your bookings increase, this could be more and more time-consuming. Eventually, you will want to hire someone to take care of cleaning. The good thing is, Airbnb allows you to add a cleaning fee, so you can use that to cover some of the expense. Chapter 6. Cars. For most people, a car is their first major purchase. It may also be the first time they get introduced to credit and use a loan to make a purchase. Unfortunately, it can also be one of their first financial mistakes. In this chapter, we are going to discuss things to consider when buying a car, especially if you plan on financing the car and maintaining a car payment. Remember, a car is an asset that in most cases depreciates with time. That means, unlike a house, over time, a car will be worth less than what you paid for it. With that said, my biggest advice is to look at a car as simply a form of transportation. Eventually, that new car smell will be gone, and the tires will need to be changed. However, the car payment will still need to be paid. There is nothing worse than making payments on a car that's broken down, needs repair, or has lost its excitement to drive. 5 things to consider when buying a car. Number 1. Lifestyle. People buy cars for a number of reasons. Some buy simply for transportation, while others buy for pleasure or status. Regardless of why you are buying, it is important to consider your lifestyle when selecting a vehicle. So, first look at your life. Are you single? Do you have a wife and kids? That new Corvette might look great, but trust me, there won't be much room for car seats. You should also consider your location. Does it snow? Do you have a long commute to work? All these things are important when considering a car purchase, especially if this will be your primary or only vehicle. There is nothing worse than having a car that no longer fits your lifestyle, and chances are you will be looking to replace it when it doesn't. Number 2. New or used. The second thing to consider when buying a car is should you buy a new or used vehicle. My personal preference is to always buy used. That is because buying a used car is typically the least expensive option, and you tend to get more car for your money. You also avoid a large portion of the depreciation that comes with new cars. Remember, a car is an asset that depreciates with time, and cars lose the most value in the first year. That means a $100,000 car will only be worth $50,000 in about 5 years. Think about it. A new car is only new until the next year's model comes out. Unless you plan on buying a new car every year, you will always be chasing the latest model. Ask yourself, is it worth paying up to 30% more for a car that may be outdated in a few months? With that said, used cars aren't for everyone, and as of late, used car prices have been increasing. If your main concern is the warranty that comes with a new car, I would recommend looking at a certified vehicle. These days, certified vehicles come with great warranties and are still priced far cheaper than buying new. Regardless of what you decide, make sure to consider which option is best for you. Knowing whether you want a new or used vehicle will help with your search and finding the best deal for the car and financing. Lenders tend to offer better rates on new vehicles. However, it may not be enough to outweigh the premium in price. Number 3. Run the numbers. Buying a car can be a lot like buying a home. It's all about the numbers. Your credit score, income, debt-to-income ratio, and down payment are all numbers you need to know when considering a car purchase. So, make sure you know this information and run the numbers before you go to the dealership. Once you get an idea of the type of vehicle you want and its price, I would recommend using a payment calculator to get an estimate of the monthly payment. You should be able to make this monthly payment comfortably. A common guideline people use is the 24-10 rule. The 24-10 rule says, with a 20% down payment on a 4-year car loan, you should spend no more than 10% of your monthly income. Again, this is just a guideline and might not work for everyone. However, I would recommend finding a less expensive vehicle before taking on a high car note. Trust me, the dealership will have no problem signing you up for a high car note, but won't help if you can't make the payment. Number 4. License, insurance, and registration. Every driver needs a license, and every vehicle requires insurance and registration. Anyone that has ever been pulled over knows the first thing a police officer asks for is license, insurance, and registration. With that said, please consider these 3 things before buying a car. I know you are saying to yourself, that's obvious, but you would be surprised how many people take this for granted. I know people who have bought cars with no driver's license, and we all know people who have driven cars with expired insurance or registration. I strongly recommend not doing this. It's not worth the trouble and can become a very expensive mistake. Be sure to consider insurance and registration costs in your monthly car budget. Also, do your best to address any tickets or violations as soon as possible. These issues tend to get more expensive the longer it takes to resolve. Believe me, you don't want to be making car payments on a car that can't be driven legally. Number 5. Maintenance, parking, and security. Last but not least, you must consider maintenance, security, and parking before buying a vehicle. These 3 things are often overlooked, but are some of the most common expenses that come with owning a car. The most important, and probably the most expensive, is maintenance. Regular car maintenance will help to extend the life of your vehicle and will ultimately help maintain its value. With that said, you may be able to delay certain car maintenance, but skipping it completely will cost you in the long run. Understand, some vehicles are more expensive to maintain than others. I learned this the hard way after purchasing a used Range Rover. If you ever heard the Jay-Z song Imaginary Player, there is a famous line that says, "What's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6? Like 30 to 40 grand. Let's just say, the maintenance might also cost 30 to 40 grand. By the end of it, I probably spent more for repairs and maintenance than I did for the truck itself. That's why I recommend researching the maintenance costs associated with certain vehicles. Especially if you are considering a foreign vehicle like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, or Land Rover. You don't want to be making payments on a car that doesn't run and you can't afford to fix. Trust me, I know. And before I forget, I must mention one of the biggest maintenance expenses, and that's gas. Different vehicles take different types and use different amounts of gas. These days, a large SUV may take $100 just to fill up, and if you are driving it every day, that might not last you a week. Also, most foreign vehicles require premium gasoline, which can cost as much as $1 more per gallon. It might not sound like a lot, but it can add up quick, especially when gas prices spike to almost $5 per gallon. So, keep that in mind when you are deciding on your next vehicle. It may be worth considering an EV. Next, you have parking and security. Now, these expenses will depend heavily on your lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, I mean mainly where you live and where you work. If you live and work in a rural area, parking may not be a big issue or expense. However, if you live or work in a large city, you could expect to pay hundreds of dollars per month for parking. It is not uncommon for apartments in the city to charge over $300 per month for an assigned parking space. Assigned parking in an office building could cost about the same. You can see how monthly parking expenses can add up quickly, and who wants to be paying more for parking than they do for the car itself. Regardless, make sure you consider your parking options when deciding to buy a car. Parking your car in the wrong place or not having the correct parking pass can lead to your car getting towed. And trust me, getting your car towed is one of the worst car ownership experiences there is. Not to mention, getting your car back is not cheap. Next, we can't talk about parking without mentioning parking tickets. Every car owner I know has gotten at least one parking ticket. Parking tickets can be a real headache, not to mention expensive. My advice, always pay the meter, only park where it's legal, and if you get a ticket, pay it. Parking ticket fines normally double after a couple weeks, and too many unpaid tickets can lead to your car getting booted and/or towed. The last thing to consider is security. Now, depending on your parking options, the security of your vehicle may not be an issue. For example, if you park your vehicle in a garage at your home, chances are your vehicle will be safe. However, parking at your apartment complex might make your vehicle an easy target. The bottom line is, no matter where you park, if you have something a thief wants, they are going to do their best to steal it. So, it is your job to stop them, or at least deter them. That said, I would recommend getting an alarm, installing wheel locks, and never keep any valuables in your car. You should also research what cars are most vulnerable. Thieves like to target specific cars. Recently, it was discovered that Kias and Hyundais were being stolen using a USB cord, causing thefts of these vehicles to spike upwards of 800% in some areas. All because the vehicles did not have sufficient security features. So, before you go buy that Hyundai, Kia, or even that Dodge Hellcat, understand it could make you a target. Replacing a set of tires and rims could be thousands of dollars, and even worse, being carjacked could cost you your life. Keep this in mind when selecting a vehicle and always have a plan to protect it. Buying a car. Buying a car can be a challenge, especially if you plan on purchasing from a dealer. Car salesmen don't always have the best reputation, and as a buyer, you always want to get the best deal. In this section, we will discuss some important steps to take once you have decided to purchase a vehicle. We will also discuss tips for negotiating with car salesmen. For most people, a car is a major purchase and one you will have to live with for several years. Following these tips will ensure you buy with confidence and help to avoid buyer's remorse. Do your research. In today's car market, the most important thing you can do when buying a car is to do your research. The internet has changed the car market and made it easier to find the car you want at the best price. However, before you can begin your research, we recommend you review the 5 things to consider when buying a car, discussed earlier in this chapter. This will help you narrow down your list of prospective vehicles. Remember, it's a waste of time to research sports cars when you really need an SUV. So don't get your hopes up searching for BMWs when you can only afford a Nissan. Once you've settled on a few car candidates, it's time to start your research. The first thing you can do is go to a site like cargurus.com or autotrader.com. Next, enter the make and model of the cars you are interested in and get an idea of what they are selling for. Once you have the estimated cost, it is time to run the numbers. You can use the 24/10 rule to get an idea of how much the car will cost you and its affordability. Most sites also have payment calculators that will help you run the numbers and get an estimated monthly payment. Don't forget to consider insurance and parking as a part of your monthly expenses. After you have found a vehicle that fits your needs and that you can comfortably afford, it's time to research the car's reliability. This could be as simple as Googling the car's make and model, followed by the word reliability. The internet is full of car reviews, and it should be easy to find one for the vehicle you are interested in. You should look for any glaring issues, like recalls or a large volume of customer complaints. Now would also be the time to investigate the maintenance costs associated with the vehicle. I also recommend researching how close the nearest dealership is to where you live. All maintenance doesn't have to be done at the dealership, but certain recalls may require the work be done by a dealer. If the nearest dealership is far from where you live or in a completely different city, it could become difficult to get the vehicle repaired. I remember having to have my Range Rover I mentioned earlier towed to a city an hour away because that was the closest dealership and the only place that could do the work. Always keep this in mind when researching a vehicle for purchase. At this point, you should have a short list of potential vehicles. So if you haven't already, now would be a good time to start test driving vehicles from your list. But be careful when going to test drive a vehicle. Depending on the dealership, you might run into a salesperson trying to pressure you to buy. That is why I recommend going somewhere like CarMax. They offer no haggle pricing, so it is more of a no-pressure environment. They also carry a wide range of vehicles for you to explore and compare. With that said, if you can't get to a CarMax and must go to a local dealer, just make sure you are clear that you are only looking and not ready to buy. Once you find a car you are interested in, make sure you inspect it thoroughly. Sit in it, and if you have someone with you, have them sit behind you. When my wife and I go car shopping, we bring the car seats to see how they will fit in the new vehicle. You would be surprised how many vehicles look big until you actually sit inside them. If after your initial review, the car still meets your needs, it's time to drive it. Try to get to a highway, or somewhere you can at least get to 60 miles per hour. Pay attention to the acceleration, handling, steering, and braking. Also drive with the radio off and the windows down. This will allow you to listen for any noises or issues. Once you get back to the lot, test out all the features, like the radio, navigation, heating, and cooling. If the car performs well, the next step is to give the keys back and leave the dealership. It is not time to buy. Go through this process with at least 3 vehicles. Compare the pros and cons of each and give yourself some time to decide. Remember, buying a car is a big decision, so don't rush into it. Doing the proper research will ensure you buy with confidence. Negotiating and car salesman. They say the price is what you pay, and the value is what you get. When buying a car, the goal is to make sure the price is never greater than the value. Unfortunately, this can be harder than you think and may take some negotiating. With that said, the car market has changed significantly over the past decade. Dealers like CarMax and Carvana offer no haggle or value pricing, which means the price is non-negotiable. For some, this makes for a simpler and less stressful car buying experience. In fact, as the car market has become more competitive, you may find even traditional dealers are less likely to negotiate price. However, if you decide to try your hand at negotiating, there are certain rules you must follow. Remember, car salesmen are professionals, and the only way to get a good deal is by earning it. Below we will go over 10 tips for negotiating with car salesmen. By following these tips, you will increase your chances of getting a great deal on a vehicle. 10 tips for car negotiations. Number 1. Control your emotions. Buying a car can be an exciting experience. It can also be tiring and stressful. Car salesmen understand this and will use these emotions against you in negotiations. It's not uncommon for them to keep you waiting in the dealership for hours in hopes that you will become exhausted and accept whatever it is they are offering. The goal here is to control your emotions. Be patient and stay focused. Also, make sure you eat something before you go. There is nothing worse than becoming hangry during car negotiations. Also, don't be afraid to leave or take a break if you are not comfortable. It is always better to walk away than accept a bad deal. Number 2. Say less. Everything you say will be used against you when buying a car. I know, that sounds like you're under arrest, but in car negotiations, remember, you have the right to remain silent. Don't start talking about how bad you need a new car or how much you love the vehicle you are looking at. Try to avoid the small talk and try to ask more questions than you answer. A dealer's job is to size you up, so answering questions about down payments, credit scores, or trade-ins will give them the upper hand in negotiations. With that said, save those conversations until you have found the vehicle you want and are ready to negotiate the price. It is okay to say, "I don't know," or decline to give them your financial information early in the process. Number 3. Don't go alone. Car salesmen have a whole team working to sell you a car. So, if you go to a dealership by yourself, you may feel outnumbered. That is why I recommend bringing someone with you. It always helps to have a second opinion when making decisions. It can also help with negotiations. Have you ever heard of good cop, bad cop? If you haven't, good cop, bad cop is a psychological tactic used in negotiations. The good cop would take a positive or more friendly position, and the bad cop would take a negative or more aggressive position. If done correctly, it can force the car salesman to work harder because, instead of having to convince one person, they need to convince two. With that said, I must warn you about bringing someone with you. Make sure it is someone you trust and whose opinion you respect. You don't want to bring someone who might influence you to accept a bad deal. Number 4. Avoid credit checks. One of the first questions a car salesman will ask is if you will be financing your vehicle purchase. If you say yes, the next request will be for them to check your credit. Your response should be no thank you. First, before you step on the lot, you should already know what your score is and what kind of interest rate you qualify for. Second, dealerships make money when you use their financing. Letting them pull your credit can affect the type of deal you get and what you end up paying for the car. Also, a hard credit pull can negatively affect your credit score. With that said, resist early requests to run your credit and only do a credit application when you are sure you want to buy the car. Number 5. Negotiate price, not payment. Another popular question dealers ask is, how much can you afford each month? Do not fall for this trick and keep your answer to yourself. Dealers often use the monthly payment to divert your attention away from the total cost of the vehicle. Monthly payments can easily be lowered by extending the length of the loan. Unfortunately, the longer the loan, the more it will cost you in interest. That is why I recommend negotiating the price, not the payment. Remember, do your research before you step on the lot. You should already have an idea how much vehicle you can afford and what the monthly payment will be. Use this to your advantage and focus on lowering the price of the vehicle, not the monthly payment. Number 6. Save your trade-in. In today's market, used cars and trade-ins are becoming more and more valuable. For this reason, dealerships are focusing on trade-ins as a source of profit. With that said, don't be surprised if you are asked about your trade-in very early in the process. If you plan on trading in a vehicle, I recommend holding off on trade-in negotiations until you have found a vehicle of interest and begun negotiating the price. Again, do your research. You should know how much your car is worth and what you owe on the car before stepping on the lot. To get the value of the car, you can start by checking Kelley Blue Book. However, if you want to get a true value, and one you can use in negotiations, I recommend going to CarMax. CarMax will do an inspection of your vehicle and give you a written offer, good for 7 days. Most dealerships are willing to beat this offer and, at worst, match it. This will give you a solid price to start negotiations for your trade-in. Number 7. Avoid the extras. Car dealerships don't make money off of cars, they make money off of everything else. That means they make money when you use their financing, purchase their warranties, insurance, service packages, and a host of other extras they will try to sell you. My advice is to avoid the extras. It will only increase the cost of the vehicle, and statistics say they are not worth it. If you do decide to get a warranty, insurance, or other add-on, see if they can include it free of charge or at least at a discount. Number 8. Know your financing. It is important to know your financial position. We touched on this earlier when we discussed credit checks. Before you step on the lot, you should already know what your score is and what kind of interest rate you qualify for. Car dealerships make money when you use their financing. To ensure you get the best deal, I recommend getting pre-qualified. That way, you will know if the rate they are offering is competitive. Most dealerships will do their best to match or beat your interest rate. Number 9. Timing. Timing makes a difference in vehicle negotiations. Car dealerships have yearly, quarterly, and monthly sales quotas. That means, at the end of the month or end of the year, dealers are more willing to make deals and cut prices. Keep this in mind when you are planning to make a purchase. If you can wait, look to make your purchase in October, November, or December. If you can't wait until the end of the year, look to purchase during the last week of the month. Holidays, like Black Friday, New Year's Eve, and President's Day, are all good times to find deals on cars. Also, try to avoid weekends. Early in the week and mornings are the best times to buy. It will be less crowded and allow you to have the salesperson's full attention. Number 10. Be prepared to walk away. This is simple. Don't feel obligated or pressured to make a deal. If you are not sure about the purchase, get up and leave. Take a couple days and think it over. Remember, it is better to walk away than make a purchase you will regret later. Plus, it will let the dealer know you are firm in what you are willing to pay. I've had dealers call me after leaving, offering to accept the price they were refusing before. Understand, for the most part, cars are a depreciating asset. The longer a car sits on the lot, the less it's worth, and the more it costs the dealer. With that said, do your best to be patient, and remember, time is on your side. Chapter 7. Investments. Warren Buffett once said, "Don't be proud of your salary, be proud of your investments." This is because investing is the key to financial success. Through investing, you will be able to decrease the time spent working for money and spend that time letting your money work for you. To do this, you must first understand what investing is. Put simply, investing is the process of buying an asset with the expectation it will increase in value. That could mean buying real estate, stocks, crypto, or even a Rolex watch. Whatever the asset, if there is a market and a return can be made, it can be considered an investment. With that said, every investment is made up of 3 key characteristics. These characteristics include risk, return, and liquidity. Risk. Risk is the probability your investment will produce a loss rather than a profit. It is also one of the first things to consider when evaluating an investment opportunity. In most cases, the greater the risk, the greater the return, and vice versa, the lower the risk, the lower the return. You must be comfortable with risk when deciding to invest. If you have a low risk tolerance, you may want to focus on investments that offer low risk. You don't want to be losing sleep because you are worrying about your investments. Return. The next thing to consider is the return. The return is simply the profit or money made on an investment. Analyzing the return on investment is a great way to compare potential investment opportunities, especially if they have similar risk. For example, say you had an opportunity that required an investment of $10,000 and had a potential return of $1,000. Then, say you had an opportunity that required an investment of $50,000 and had a potential return of $3,000. On the surface, it may appear the second opportunity, with a return of $3,000, would be a better investment. However, the second investment would require 5 times the investment for only 3 times the return. That said, the first investment would have a higher return. A simple formula for calculating return on investment is return divided by investment. In the example above, the first investment would have a return of 10%, $1,000 divided by $10,000. The second investment would have a return of 6%, $3,000 divided by $50,000. Again, you can use this formula to quickly compare potential investment opportunities that have similar risk. Liquidity. The last characteristic of an investment is liquidity. You should always consider liquidity when evaluating an investment. Liquidity is the ability to sell or liquidate an investment. Like risk, the liquidity of an investment will have a direct effect on its potential risk. That said, you can expect higher risk for an investment with low liquidity, whereas a highly liquid investment may have lower risk. To give you an example, a house or other forms of real estate would not be considered liquid. That is because it could take months to sell and receive cash for your investment. A rare painting would also have low liquidity. Precious objects often have a limited or select number of buyers, which makes selling more difficult. Again, the harder to sell, the lower the liquidity. On the other hand, investments like stocks, bonds, and some cryptocurrencies would be considered highly liquid investments. That is because they can be converted to cash relatively quickly. If you have ever bought and sold stock using an app like Robinhood, you know a stock can be liquidated or sold in a matter of seconds. That is why liquidity is so important when it comes to investments. If the value of your investment begins to drop quickly, being able to sell and cut your losses becomes increasingly important. The higher the liquidity, the easier it will be to sell. This is also important in case you have an emergency or another investment opportunity presents itself. Having the ability to quickly liquidate an investment will give you the flexibility to adapt and restructure your investment portfolio. Investment strategy. Finally, before you begin on your investment journey, it is important to create a basic investment strategy. The first step in creating an investment strategy is to look at your current financial position. You will want to look at your monthly income and expenses to help determine how much you will have to invest. You will also want to look at any outstanding debts or liabilities that may affect your ability to invest. Remember, it doesn't take a lot of money to begin investing, and it is better to invest a little than to not invest at all. Next, you should decide on your investment approach. Mainly, do you want to be an active investor or a passive investor? Active investing is more of a hands-on approach, while passive investing is more of a buy and hold strategy. For example, day trading stock options or buying houses to fix and flip would be considered an active investment approach. On the other hand, investing in index funds or buying a rental property would be considered more of a passive investment approach. Both can be successful, however, passive investing presents less risk and may be better suited for people just starting out. Lastly, you will want to consider your goals. Are you investing for retirement or looking for an immediate return? Knowing this will be important when deciding what type of investments to pursue. With so many different investment options, an investment strategy will help you decide which opportunities are right for you. That said, let's look at 5 common types of investments. 5 types of investments. Number 1. Stocks and ETFs. Stocks or equity securities are financial assets that represent ownership in a company. Corporations issue stock in the form of shares as a way to raise funds and grow a company. Public companies list their stock on exchanges like the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange. Buyers and sellers then use stockbrokers to purchase and sell stock from these exchanges. By purchasing shares of a company's stock, you would obtain an ownership interest in the company and be what is called a shareholder. Shareholders have voting rights, are entitled to dividends, and have the right to sell the shares they own. That said, there are two main ways to earn income from stocks. Those two ways are dividends and appreciation. Dividends are a distribution of companies' profits in the form of cash payments. They are paid on a per-share basis, and the amount is determined by the company's board of directors. The other way to earn money from stocks is through capital appreciation. Appreciation is simply an increase in the share price or value of the stock. For example, if you bought a share for $100 and it is now worth $150, you would have gained $50 through the appreciation of the stock. Over time, appreciation offers investors the greatest potential for profit. At the same time, there are no guarantees when it comes to stocks and the stock market. Poor company performance, volatile market conditions, and a bad economy can all have a negative impact on a stock's share price. For this reason, stocks are generally considered a high-risk investment. However, using a buy-and-hold strategy can help to mitigate the risk of stock investment. That is because historically, stocks outperform other investment classes when held over a long period of time. Another investment option similar to stocks are ETFs. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. Like stocks, ETFs are listed on the New York Stock Exchange and can be purchased in shares. The main difference between stocks and ETFs is stocks represent a share of one individual company, while ETFs can be made up of hundreds or thousands of companies. The fact that ETFs can be made up of several companies from various industries or sectors make them popular with investors seeking diversification. Diversification can help reduce the risk of a downward swing in a single stock. However, that also means you won't benefit as much from a large upward swing in a single stock. Simply put, ETFs offer increased stability when compared to individual stocks. This makes it an attractive investment if you are looking for steadily increasing earnings over a long period of time. Number 2. CDs and bonds. CDs and bonds are some of the safest investments you can make. Both offer returns with little to no risk and provide an alternative to a traditional savings account. A CD stands for Certificate of Deposit. A CD is a type of savings account that pays interest on a fixed lump sum deposit. In return, you agree not to withdraw your money during the term of the CD. The term of a CD can range from as short as 6 months to as long as 5 years. In most cases, the longer the term, the higher the interest rate. However, if the principal deposit is withdrawn early or prior to the end of the term, you will most likely face a penalty that could eliminate most or all your interest earnings. For example, say you deposit $1,000 in a 12-month CD that has an annual percentage yield of 4%. During the 12-month term, you would not be allowed to withdraw your money without facing a penalty. At the end of the first year, your CD would be worth $1,040, giving you a profit of $40. Now, some may not consider this a true investment since the return is much lower than other investment options. However, with low risk comes low reward, and CDs are as safe as it gets. In fact, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation guarantees them up to $250,000. Bonds are another low-risk investment option. Like CDs, bonds pay interest on a fixed lump sum deposit. They also come with a time commitment and the possibility of penalty for early withdrawal. Bonds are normally issued by governments and companies looking to raise money. The bonds are then backed by the government or organization that issues them. This means, if that government or company fails, you could potentially lose your principal investment. For this reason, bonds are rated by agencies like Moody's and Standard & Poor's. The bond rating will assess the creditworthiness of the government or organization issuing the bond. The highest possible bond rating is AAA, and U.S. Treasury bonds are the most common AAA-rated bonds. Again, CDs and bonds are some of the safest investments that also have high liquidity. However, the returns can be modest and are geared for a more conservative investment strategy. Number 3. Cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, or crypto for short, is a relatively new investment class. Cryptocurrency is a digital currency, or asset, that began with the creation of the Bitcoin blockchain. Over the past 4 years, there has been an explosion in cryptocurrency. That said, there has also been a growing concern regarding the stability and longevity of cryptocurrency. The collapse of the crypto exchange FTX and the drastic decline in prices has proven that crypto, as an investment, can be highly unpredictable. For this reason, cryptocurrency should be considered high risk and purely speculative. To begin investing in crypto, consider buying crypto directly, a crypto ETF, or crypto stocks. Remember, it is important to manage risk with all investments, but even more so with cryptocurrency. Make sure you have a plan, use a reputable crypto exchange, and only invest what you can afford to lose. Number 4. Real estate. Real estate is one of the oldest and most reliable investment options. Business tycoon Andrew Carnegie once said, 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. Real estate can include vacant land, residential properties, and commercial properties. That means any property you buy, with the intention of making money, can be considered real estate investing. This includes buying a home to live in, purchasing a rental or Airbnb, or acquiring a fix and flip. Real estate is widely considered to be a low-risk investment as it tends to appreciate over time. However, it is important to note, real estate is not considered a highly liquid investment. In the case you need to sell your property quickly, you could be forced to sell below market or at a loss. For this reason, it is best to consider real estate as a longer-term investment. For more information on real estate investing, make sure to listen to Chapter 5, which covers real estate in detail. Number 5. Precious objects. Anything of value, purchased with the goal of reselling for profit, can be considered an investment. That is why precious objects should be considered investments. Precious objects include gold, silver, rare coins, and jewelry. It can also include artwork, comic books, and sports memorabilia. The fact is, if its value appreciates over time, someone will invest in it. That said, investing in precious objects can be highly volatile. Niche markets usually have fewer buyers, and with fewer buyers comes low liquidity and higher risk. Precious objects are also prone to physical damage. Special attention must be given to how they are stored and maintained. Keep this in mind, as the quality and condition of the object will play a big part in its value. Do your research. Benjamin Franklin once said, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." Well, when it comes to making investments, this could not be more true. Whether it be stocks, real estate, or comic books, it is important to do your research. In fact, before you invest in anything, I would recommend you learn as much information as possible. That means not only understanding the market or industry you are investing in, but also know the markets or industries that may impact your investment. You should also research any regulations or laws that can affect your investment. The more you know, the better your chances of being successful. Understand, current and future trends are important, but the past also has a history of repeating itself. In the end, research could be the difference between a significant profit or a devastating loss. Invest wisely and good luck. Chapter 8. Starting your own business. Now more than ever, the desire to be an entrepreneur and own your own business has grown tremendously. Since the start of the pandemic, applications for new businesses have gone up over 20%. The allure of being your own boss and the freedom and flexibility to make your own schedule has been a major motivation for people to start their own business. That said, starting a business can be challenging. Studies have shown 50% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. Whether due to lack of funds, poor planning, or simply bad timing, entrepreneurship has its risks. However, don't let this scare you away from entrepreneurship. Creating a successful business may take work, but with the proper planning, it is achievable. Below are 5 things to consider before starting your own business. Use them as a guide as you begin your journey to becoming an entrepreneur. 5 things to consider before starting your own business. Number 1. Why do you want to start a business? This is the most important question to ask. Why do you want to be a business owner? Is it the money, the freedom, your family, or some other reason? This will be important when deciding what type of business to start. For example, if you are in it for the money, you may want to stay away from businesses with low profit margins. Likewise, if you are looking to have more freedom, you may not want to start a business that requires you to actively manage it. I would also recommend you find something you enjoy. Ask yourself, what would you do if money wasn't an issue? Think about what motivates and inspires you. Having a passion for what you are doing will greatly improve your chances of creating a successful business. Number 2. Will it be full-time or a side hustle? These days, everyone seems to have a side hustle. A side hustle is a great way to make extra money. The other great thing about a side hustle is they often turn into full-time businesses. Regardless, whether you are starting a side hustle or a full-time venture, it is important to know the difference. That said, a side hustle typically demands less of your time. Side hustles also tend to generate immediate profits, but have less potential for growth. On the other hand, a full-time venture will require a lot more of your time. It may also take longer to see a return on your investment. However, a full-time venture will have a greater potential for growth and can be sustained long-term. Keep this in mind when starting your new venture. It will play a big part in how you plan and prepare. Number 3. What are you good at? Again, having a passion for the business you start will greatly improve your chances of being successful. Understanding what your strengths are will also help you achieve success. It sounds simple, but you would be surprised how many people start businesses they know nothing about. Not to say you can't be successful trying something new, but it is much easier if you have some experience. It also helps if the business aligns with your personality. For example, if you are an introvert, it may be a challenge to start a business rooted in sales. Likewise, if you are an extrovert, you may find it hard to sit at a computer all day. That said, I recommend you conduct a self-assessment. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and try your best to craft your business around them. Number 4. How much money do you have to risk? You must decide the amount of money you want to invest in your new business. Some businesses, especially online, can be started with little to no money. Others can take hundreds of thousands of dollars to start. Either way, decide how much you are going to start with. Once you have an amount, start researching what businesses match your budget. Remember, it not only costs to start a business, but it also costs to maintain it. Create a budget for the first year of business and set aside a contingency fund for any unexpected costs. Number 5. Do you want to provide a service or a product? Deciding whether to sell a product, provide a service, or both will be an important decision when creating a business. Creating a product-based business may require more upfront costs, and the success of the business will weigh heavily on the quality of the product. On the other hand, service-based businesses rely more on expertise and relationships and may have a lower cost for entry. That said, product-based businesses can make money while you sleep, while a service-based business may require active involvement. Keep this in mind when deciding the type of business to start. 5 steps to starting your own business. Number 1. Create a business plan. A goal without a plan is just a wish. When it comes to business, poor planning can be the difference between success and failure. I know, creating a business plan can sound like a long, tedious process. However, a business plan does not need to be 100 pages. In fact, I would recommend starting with a lean business plan. A lean business plan is a 1-page outline of your business. It should address what your business will do and how your business will make money. You should also identify your target market, potential customers, and current competitors. Next, you will want to list any key business expenses and provide a rough estimate of revenue. Lastly, try to establish at least 3 goals or milestones for your business. For example, set a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month business goal. Once you have a draft of your business plan, make sure you save it and review it weekly. The goal is to constantly add and adjust your plan as your business grows. Number 2. Choose a name. There is power in a name. That said, one of the best ways to spark interest in your business is with its name. Your company name is often the first thing your customers will see. In today's age of social media, your business name may be as important as the product or service you are selling. The right name will elevate your business, however, the wrong name can hurt it. You should always think long-term when creating a name for your business. Try to avoid location-specific names or names that could be offensive. You want the name to be able to grow with your business. That's because your name will carry your business's reputation and in some cases be its calling card. Do your best to create an authentic, memorable, and web-friendly name that represents your business's image and mission. Number 3. Register your business. Registering your business will make it legal and protect your brand. You can create a corporation, LLC, or other business entity by filing with your state's business agency. You will need to complete some basic information and pay a filing fee. Once you complete the registration, the state will send you a certificate that you can use to apply for a tax ID and open a bank account. During this time, I would also consider buying a website address. Having a web domain and website will add credibility to your business and provide your brand with marketability. Number 4. Apply for a tax ID. Once you have registered your business, you will want to apply for an employer identification number, also known as an EIN. EINs are distributed by the IRS. An EIN is basically a social security number for your business. You will need it to obtain a business bank account. You will also need it to apply for a business credit card, obtain a business loan, and file taxes. The process is free, and if you complete the application online, you can get your EIN immediately. Number 5. Open a bank account. Opening a business bank account is not a requirement. However, as your business begins to grow, it will become increasingly important. With that said, I would recommend doing it from the start. Having a separate account will help you organize your finances. Using your personal account for business transactions can make it difficult to account for your business spending versus your personal. Having a separate account will allow you to easily track your business expenses, payments, and receipts. Opening a business account will also add a level of credibility. In fact, it can even help build credit history for your business. All you need is an ID, EIN number, and your business registration information. Chapter 9. Starting a nonprofit. With the advent of social media, there has been an increased awareness and desire to serve those in need. As you would expect, there has also been an exponential growth in the nonprofit sector. Nonprofit organizations are entities created with the goal of providing public or social benefit. That could include advancing financial education, promoting music and arts, or sponsoring sports programs in underserved communities. Whatever the cause, a nonprofit is the perfect vehicle for servicing the needs of your community. Not only that, a nonprofit can help boost the credibility, goodwill, and exposure of your business. This is why you often see companies create nonprofits to work in conjunction with their core business. If you are thinking about starting a nonprofit, there are several things you should consider. Let's discuss 5 things to consider before starting a nonprofit. Use them as a guide on your nonprofit journey. 5 things to consider before starting a nonprofit. Number 1. Why do you want to start a nonprofit? Just like starting a business, it is important to ask yourself, why do you want to start a nonprofit? Remember, a nonprofit's purpose is to provide a service or benefit to the community. So, If you are looking to start a nonprofit, make sure it is right for you. Starting a nonprofit is not easy, and they call it nonprofit for a reason. Most nonprofits rely heavily on volunteer work and donations. That said, I would recommend you focus on something you are passionate about and enjoy doing. Think about what motivates and inspires you. Having passion for your cause will greatly improve your chances of creating a successful nonprofit. Number 2. What is your mission? Again, social media has helped to bring several important causes to the forefront of the public eye. However, that has also increased competition in the nonprofit sector. That said, it will be vital for you to define your cause and the mission of your nonprofit. Your mission statement should be 1 to 2 sentences that clearly define what your nonprofit does and who it serves. Even though it should only be 1 to 2 sentences, spend time on your mission statement. It will ultimately play a big part in how you plan, prepare, and organize your nonprofit. Number 3. What are you good at? Again, having a passion for the nonprofit you start will greatly improve your chances of being successful. Understanding your strengths will also help you achieve success. It is much easier if your experience aligns with your mission statement. For example, if you are an accountant, starting an after-school program that teaches financial literacy would align with your experience. Likewise, if you are a nurse, running a wellness program would also align with your experience. That said, it is always helpful to conduct a self-assessment. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and try your best to craft your nonprofit around them. Number 4. How will you fund your nonprofit? Nonprofit does not mean no expense. It will take money to run your nonprofit. It will be important to know what it will cost to fulfill your mission. Again, nonprofits rely heavily on volunteer work and donations. Some nonprofits can be started with little to no money. Others can take thousands of dollars to start. Depending on your mission, decide how much money you will need. Once you have an amount, start looking into fundraising options. There are many ways to raise funds. Some include charity events, social media, GoFundMe, and in-person. Nonprofits can also obtain local, state, and federal grants. Create a budget for at least the first year and set aside a contingency fund for any unexpected expenses. Number 5. How will you raise awareness? Just like a business, nonprofits require marketing. This will be your main way to raise awareness about your cause and increase donations. Again, social media is a great way to raise awareness. However, when it comes to nonprofits, it is always good to add a personal touch. I would recommend reaching out to schools and churches in your community. If your nonprofit can benefit them, work to gain their support. You would be surprised how much support you can receive when you focus on your local community. 5 steps to starting a nonprofit. Number 1. Conduct a needs assessment. They say give people what they need, not what they want. That said, a successful nonprofit should fill that need. A needs assessment is necessary to help you identify what that need is. Think of it as an extension of your mission statement. Your needs assessment will outline what your nonprofit does, who it serves, and identify current competitors. Understanding what organizations exist in your community is as important with a nonprofit as it is in business. That is because, if there is another organization that is focused on your target mission, it could potentially affect your ability to fundraise. In most cases, donor dollars are limited. For that reason, if you discover another nonprofit focused on your mission, consider tweaking your mission statement to address a need that is unfulfilled. Number 2. Choose a name. Just like a business, there is power in a name. The name of your nonprofit can elevate your organization. It should align with your mission statement and embody the values of the organization. Remember, your name will carry your business's reputation and be its calling card. Do your best to create an authentic, memorable, and web-friendly name that represents your nonprofit's image and mission. Number 3. File articles of incorporation. You can create a corporation by filing with your state's business agency. You will need to select a board of directors, complete the required forms, and pay a filing fee. Once you complete the registration, the state will send you a certificate that you can use to apply for a tax ID and file for tax-exempt status. During this time, I would also consider building a website. Having a website will add credibility to your nonprofit and provide your brand with marketability. Number 4. Apply for a tax ID. Once you have registered your nonprofit, you will want to apply for an Employer Identification Number, EIN. EINs are distributed by the IRS. An EIN is basically a social security number for your nonprofit. You will need it to obtain a bank account. You will also need it to apply for a credit card, obtain a loan, and file for tax-exempt status. The process is free, and if you complete the application online, you can get your EIN immediately. Number 5. File for tax-exempt status. Unlike a business, nonprofits are tax-exempt. However, to establish tax-exempt status, you must file with the IRS. There is a fee that ranges between $275 and $600, depending on your application method. The application process can take between 3 and 12 months and can be found at irs.gov. Chapter 10. Taxes. Albert Einstein once said, "The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax." If you have ever read through the tax code, you would probably agree. Simply put, tax rules can be complicated. However, depending on your tax bracket, filing your taxes could be very simple. It really depends on how much money you make. In the United States, we have what is called a progressive tax system. That means the higher the income, the higher the tax rate. There are currently 7 federal income tax brackets. A tax bracket is the range of incomes taxed at given rates. For example, if you make $50,000 per year, you may be taxed at 25%. However, if you make $100,000 per year, you may be taxed at a higher rate. Now, that does not mean the more money you make, the more tax you pay. We have all heard the stories of millionaires and billionaires who pay very little or nothing in taxes. That is because, in the U.S., we also have something called tax deductions. Tax deductions are subtracted from your earned income to determine your taxable income. Taxable income is the amount of a person's income that can be taxed. For example, say you earned $100,000 for the tax year and were eligible for $30,000 in tax deductions. You would only pay taxes on your taxable income of $70,000. Now, this is a very simplified example. Again, the tax code is very complex and is made up of thousands of rules and regulations. For this reason, I recommend consulting a professional for complex tax scenarios. Believe me, the last thing you want is an issue with the IRS. That said, below are some basic tax tips I recommend using when dealing with taxes. Following these simple tax tips can make filing taxes a little easier each year. Remember, tax planning and having a tax strategy will become increasingly important as you make more money. Do your best to stay ahead of the game when it comes to taxes. In the long run, it will only save you time and money. 5 tax tips. Number 1. Follow the rules. You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. This is another quote from Albert Einstein that perfectly explains how to approach tax planning and tax strategy. Remember, the tax code is made up of thousands of rules and regulations. That said, it is legally our responsibility to follow them. That means, if you don't know the rules, don't play the game. I can't count the number of people that have fallen victim to the IRS due to tax issues. Whether it was due to a lack of information or done explicitly to break the rules, it is never a good idea to play around with Uncle Sam. The penalties can be harsh, and you could end up being charged criminally. So, know the rules before you file your taxes. That extra credit or deduction may seem like a lot now, but could wind up costing even more in the future. Number 2. Keep good records. Keeping your records organized and accessible is one of the best things you can do to avoid tax issues. The IRS recommends keeping records for 3 years from the date you file or 2 years from the date you paid the tax. Records should include W-2s, 1099s, or any interest income statements. You will also want to keep any records related to deductions or credits you may have claimed. If you have a business, good record keeping is especially important. IRS data has shown self-employed people who earn over $100,000 face audit more than the average taxpayer. That said, do your best to separate your business activities from your personal. I would also recommend using an app or program to track your business expenses. In the end, keeping good records will save you time and could also save you money. Number 3. File on time. This should go without saying, but filing your tax return on time is important, especially if you owe money. Failing to file on time when you owe money could cost you a penalty of 5% per month. Being self-employed could cost you even more for filing late. For example, if you're self-employed and fail to file a tax return for a period of 3 years, you will stop receiving Social Security credits toward your retirement. That said, you can see how important it is to file your return on time. Even if you don't have the money to pay your tax bill, I would recommend filing. It is better to file and try to work out a payment plan than not filing at all. Even though you could incur fees or penalties, it will be much less than the penalty you'd face by failing to file. Number 4. File an extension. If you can't file your taxes on time, the best option is to get an extension. An extension can be filed online and can give you an extra 6 months to get your tax return filed. There is also no cost to file an extension. If you are due a return, there is no downside to getting an extension. However, if you owe money, you will still be charged penalties and interest on the unpaid amount. That said, if you don't file, you could be charged a late filing fee on top of penalties and interest. Number 5. Get professional help. Taxes are complicated. If you are not confident you can handle filing your return, hire a tax professional. A good tax preparer can be well worth the fee, especially if they can identify tax credits or expenses to write off. It is not uncommon for taxpayers to overpay because they overlook tax credits or expenses to write off. That is why the best way to guarantee you are able to optimize your tax return is to hire an experienced and highly rated tax preparer. That said, be cautious of anyone promising to eliminate your tax debt. In most cases, this is just a way for them to charge you service fees. Before working with these type of tax services, try contacting the IRS yourself. In most cases, you will have the same chances to negotiate a reduction as the tax service. Bonus chapter. Family and friends. They say, love will bring a family together, but money can tear it apart. Whether it's loaning money to family, financial infidelity, or doing business with friends, people won't always agree when it comes to financial matters. That's why you should use caution when mixing family and money. Arguments over money often ruin relationships. Have you ever seen a family member get a new car? A new car they bought with money they owe someone else. That said, there is no guarantee the loan will be repaid and that it won't cause conflict and disappointment. It's really how you handle the situation that will make the difference. Money is an emotional subject, so communication is key. Don't make money a thing that no one talks about. That said, we will discuss 5 tips for dealing with family and money. Use these tips to avoid potential conflicts and resolve any issues related to family and money. 5 tips for dealing with family and money. Number 1. Just say no. As easy as that sounds, saying no is one of the hardest things to do. Many people feel obligated to help family and friends. In fact, these same family and friends may have helped them in the past. This makes saying no even more difficult. The bottom line is, you must decide how important it is for that person to pay you back. If they don't pay back the loan, would it ruin your relationship or hurt you financially? If the answer is yes, then it may be best to say no. Again, it may be difficult to say no. And saying no could still end up hurting your relationship. That said, it's not always what you say, but how you say it. Make sure you listen to the request, and don't say no too quickly. You can also ask for more time to think it over. However, don't take too long to respond, and when you do, be firm about it. That means don't say maybe or be vague. Say no, and don't make any excuses or try to give an explanation. You can simply say, "I'm sorry, but I can't give you a loan." If the person asks why, just repeat your statement, "I'm sorry, but I can't give you a loan." Number 2. Have an agreement. If you decide that you are going to lend money or do business with a family or friend, it's a good idea to put something in writing. Again, this can be a touchy subject, but it's really best for everyone. It does not have to be a long, drawn-out contract. It can be as simple as a text or an email. Make sure to lay out the terms of the agreement. If it's a loan, be sure to include the amount to be repaid and the date or timeline for repayment. If you get pushback for asking for an agreement, don't do it. Someone asking, "Don't you trust me?" should be an immediate red flag. Number 3. Give it as a gift. If the relationship is important to you and you are doubtful you will be repaid, think of the loan as a gift. A gift does not have to be paid back, and if they do pay you back, that's just a bonus. This will save you the stress of worrying about being repaid. No one wants to be the person nagging someone about the money they are owed. You can also consider giving less than the loan amount. For example, maybe they ask you for a $500 loan. Instead of loaning them $500, maybe you can give them $100 as a gift. In most cases, the person will be happy you tried to help. Number 4. Communicate. If a relative or friend has borrowed money from you but hasn't repaid you, address the issue as soon as possible. Decide quickly whether you're going to seek repayment or consider the loan a gift. Don't prolong the situation and let it turn into something that will ruin your relationship. Remember, the longer you let it sit unpaid, the more you will have negative feelings about it. If you are unable to resolve the issue, let the person know how you feel and then let it go. Having hard feelings won't get your money back. That said, I would recommend not loaning that person money again. Number 5. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If a relative or friend has borrowed money and hasn't paid you back, I wouldn't recommend loaning them money in the future. This may affect your relationship with that person, but in the end, it will be better for the both of you. It reminds me of a part in the movie Bronx Tale. In the movie, the character named C is upset because Louis owes him $20 and refuses to pay him back. C wants to hurt Louis, but instead Sonny tells him, "You don't even like him, he's out of your life for $20, you got off cheap." That said, think about it like this. That $50 loan that your family member didn't repay could save you from losing even more in the future. Congratulations! You have completed Money is a Thing, Life Tools and Cash Rules. You are one step closer on your path to financial freedom. Next, we will leave you with some tips to be used in your everyday life. They are in no particular order, but hopefully they will be of use. 100 Life Tools and Cash Rules. Number 1. Check your interest rate. Interest rates will either save you money or cost you a fortune. Number 2. Track your net worth. Your net worth equals your assets minus your liabilities. Your net worth will be your financial scorecard. Number 3. Set a budget. A budget is the starting point for every financial goal in life. Number 4. Start saving ASAP. Not next month. Not when you get a raise. Not when you get your taxes back. Today. Time is money, and compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Number 5. Start with small debts, then conquer the big ones. Paying off little debts will give you confidence to tackle the larger ones. Number 6. Consider an all-cash diet. Put the debit card away. If you can't be disciplined, use all cash. Number 7. Make savings part of your monthly budget. Do not save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving. Number 8. Take a daily money minute. Take 60 seconds to check your accounts and track your progress. Number 9. Allocate at least 20% of your income toward financial priorities. This includes emergency savings, paying off debt, and long-term investments. Number 10. Be prepared to walk away. Don't feel obligated or pressured to make a deal. It is better to walk away than make a deal you will regret later. Number 11. Keep your savings account at a different bank than your checking account. Accounts at the same bank make it too easy to transfer money. Disconnect your checking and savings. Number 12. Spend on experiences, not things. A flight or cruise is better than clothes or shoes. Number 13. Direct deposit. Start saving automatically. You'll be surprised how much your account grows. Number 14. Avoid credit checks. A hard credit pull can negatively affect your credit score. Resist requests to run your credit and only do a credit application when you are sure you want to buy. Number 15. Shop solo. Avoid the friend that always says, "You should buy it." Shop alone. Number 16. Don't co-sign for a loan. Not for a friend, family member, significant other, or whoever it is, don't do it. If a payment is missed, your credit is hit. Number 17. Get a secured credit card. A secured card can build credit like a regular card, but it won't let you overspend. Number 18. Know your financing. Get pre-qualified before shopping for anything that will require credit. Number 19. There are 5 types of financial emergencies. Use emergency savings only if you've lost your job, have a medical emergency, car breaks down, emergency home repair, or you need to travel to a funeral. Otherwise, just say no. A trip to Dubai does not count. Number 20. Never give up. Miracles happen every day. Put in the effort and have patience. Number 21. Do not cash out your retirement account. Cashing out a retirement account is only okay if you have no savings, lost your job, or have a medical emergency. Number 22. Keep your credit utilization rate below 30%. Calculate your credit utilization rate by taking the sum of all your balances divided by the sum of your card's credit limits. Number 23. Give people a second chance, but not a third. Everybody makes mistakes. People deserve a second chance. However, the third mistake is not an accident, it's deliberate. Number 24. Keep your savings out of your checking account. Get separate accounts. Using your checking account as a savings account won't work. Number 25. Choose your spouse carefully. This decision will account for 90% of your happiness or 90% of your misery. Number 26. Never be the smartest in the room. If you are, find a different room. Number 27. If you want to go to college, fill out the FAFSA. Even if you don't think you'll get financial aid, it doesn't hurt to fill out the form. Number 28. Never stop learning. Regardless how successful you've become, learning never stops. Number 29. Wear the same thing every day. I wear sweatsuits and tennis shoes almost every day, and don't have to think about it. That's just one less thing to worry about in life. Number 30. You can have too much savings. If you have more than 12 months savings in your emergency account, start thinking about investing. Number 31. Consider joining a credit union. Credit unions offer better loans and better interest rates. Number 32. Say less. Everything you say will be used against you. Don't start talking just to talk. It is okay to say, "I don't know," and even better to listen and learn. Number 33. Always choose federal student loans over private loans. Federal loans have flexible terms, better interest rates, and potential to be forgiven. Number 34. Give money to get money. Take advantage of employer matching. But you'll only get it if you contribute first. Number 35. You're better off being happy than being rich. Sometimes, money is a price for people who didn't get what they really wanted. Number 36. Travel. Travel while you're young, travel while you're old. Just make sure you travel. Get to know and respect the other cultures in the world. Number 37. Be open about your mistakes. Sounding too perfect is a mistake. Talk about mistakes you've made and keep it real. Number 38. Don't be your own worst enemy. Be your own greatest supporter. Nobody can hurt you as much as you. Number 39. Have and become a mentor. Learning from others and teaching others is the best way to build powerful relationships in both directions. Number 40. Get renter's insurance. It covers robberies, vandalism, natural disasters, and even rent if you have to stay somewhere else. Number 41. Control your emotions. The goal in negotiations and debate is to always control your emotions. Be patient and stay focused. Number 42. If you're struggling with student loans, call the lender. Your lender may offer graduated, extended, or income-based plans. Number 43. When you get a raise, raise your savings. Every time you get an increase in pay, the first thing you should do is up your savings and increase your long-term investments. Number 44. Your mortgage should be under 30% of your monthly income. When you're trying to figure out how much you can afford, 30% is a good rule of thumb. Number 45. Get your finances and body in shape. More exercise leads to higher pay. The habits and discipline associated with fitness are also associated with managing your money. Number 46. Evaluate purchases by cost per use. When deciding if an item is worth it, factor in how many times you'll use it. Number 47. Avoid the extras. Learn to work with the basics. Most of the time, the extras aren't worth it and only increase the cost. Number 48. Check your credit report and score regularly. Check your credit score monthly and set up alerts for any updates or changes to your report. Number 49. Get more life insurance. The basic policy from your employer is often too little. Extra life insurance will save your family. Number 50. Ask for what you want. People are afraid to say what they want. Then they wonder why they don't get it. It never hurts to ask. Number 51. To befriend successful people, don't ask for favors. If you want to make friends with successful people, don't ask for anything. If you're successful, befriend people who don't need anything from you. Number 52. Eliminate toxic money thoughts. Never say I'm broke or money is the root of evil. You're setting your mind up to fail. Stay positive. Number 53. It's okay to ask for help. Ask for help when you need it. People love to help. Don't be insecure. Number 54. Create a not-to-do list. Just because you can do anything doesn't mean you should do everything. Number 55. Do less. Do fewer things. The majority of things taking up your time are distractions and won't make you successful. Number 56. Done is better than perfect. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. Get it done. Number 57. Know your worst-case scenario. Hope for the best but plan for the worst. Number 58. Learn how to savor the good. Appreciate what you have instead of trying to find happiness by acquiring more things. Number 59. Study the habits of successful people. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Why try to reinvent the wheel? Number 60. Get a money buddy. Friends can pick up good habits from each other. Embrace friends who like to invest, save, and pay down debt. Number 61. Pay attention to fees. In the long run, a bunch of small fees will be the same as a big loss. Number 62. Spend on the real you, not the imaginary you. Don't buy for the person you want to be. Buy for who you are. If you don't know who that is, ask your bank account. Number 63. Confidence breeds success. Successful people have very strong egos for a reason. Number 64. When negotiating a salary, let them go first. Your current pay could be lowballing or highballing a potential employer. Let them name the salary first and then push them higher. Number 65. Working for money won't make you wealthy, but making your money work for you will. Number 66. Having money is not the same as having status. You must earn respect, not buy it. Number 67. Budget 30% of your income for lifestyle spending. This includes anything that doesn't fall under basic necessities. Number 68. Draft a vision board. A vision board will remind you of your financial goals. Use it for motivation and to stay on track. Number 69. Adopt a spending motto. Create a phrase that acts like a rule of thumb for spending. For example, is this blank better than paying off my car loan? Number 70. Ditch the overdraft protection. Why would you want to overspend and then get charged a fee for it? Number 71. Invest in yourself. If you're not worth it, then who is? Number 72. Social media is antisocial. Take a break from it and go talk to someone in person. Number 73. Set specific goals. Use exact numbers and specific dates. Describe what you want to accomplish in detail. Number 74. You can negotiate more than your salary. Work hours, official title, remote work, vacation time, and which projects you work on can all be negotiated. Number 75. Don't allow the phone to interrupt important moments. Put the phone down. Instagram can wait. Number 76. Sweat the small stuff. Enjoy the little things, because one day you may look back and realize they were the big things. Number 77. 80% of success is based on your ability to deal with people. The world involves dealing with people. You must be good at dealing with people. If you're not, you will not succeed. Number 78. Choose your friends wisely. Sometimes the people you take a bullet for are the ones behind the trigger. Number 79. Not everyone will like you. That's just the way of the world. You probably won't like everyone anyway. Number 80. True wealth is everything you can't see. Your friends with the expensive car and designer clothes could be drowning in debt. Number 81. Don't assume you don't qualify for unemployment. Only half the people eligible for unemployment apply for it. Number 82. Love yourself. People say they love money, they love traveling, they love shopping. Ever wonder if they love their self? Number 83. Become the most positive and enthusiastic person you know. Being positive attracts success and successful people. Number 84. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Take inspiration from others. Remember, everyone is on their own path. Number 85. Don't burn bridges. You'll be surprised how many times you have to cross the same river. Do you really want to spend time rebuilding bridges? Number 86. Make small money goals. The further away a goal is, the more likely you will give up. Set short-term goals for a quick win. Number 87. Review your portfolio once a year. Look at your long-term investment account at least once a year. Make sure your investments still match your goals. Number 88. Make salary discussions about your company's needs. Your employer won't care why you want more money. Always emphasize the value you bring to the company. Number 89. Debt isn't worth it. Buying things you can't afford will give you a short-term buzz, but it will leave a long-term hangover. Number 90. Never deprive someone of hope. Never tell people their dreams are impossible. Hope is a beautiful thing, and it could be all they have. Number 91. Age is perspective. When you're 20, you think 50 is old. When you're 50, you feel like you're 30. When you're 70, 50 looks like 20. Age is just a number. Number 92. Change is good. A thug changes, love changes, and best friends become strangers. Don't resist change. Number 93. Have a firm handshake. A firm handshake is necessary for making an impression on everyone you meet. Number 94. Keep it simple. Number 95. Be a good winner. Be humble in victory and congratulate the losers on their effort. Number 96. Life is not fair. Don't expect life to be fair, expect it to be hard. That way, if it's easy, you can push right through. Number 97. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is a form of self-discipline and a character trait needed in life. Number 98. Relax. Try not to worry about situations that don't have an effect on your life. Number 99. Look people in the eye. It establishes a connection and shows you're serious. Number 100. Show respect for people who work for a living. 9 to 5 or 5 to 9. They deserve respect. Again, thanks for listening to Money is a Thing, Life Tools and Cash Rules. For more great financial content, visit www.moneyisathing.com.